We're going to be seeing M in just a bit with Hab for the cast. But before that, I want to see which maps we're going to be playing on. Of course, we all agree on that. It is a best of 5 series. Not only is it different in the map pick ban phase, pick ban pick, and then Deciders map number 7, but also it is immensely exhausting for these two teams, to the point where if you get to a map 5, you're probably running on fumes. It's very different than just playing your ranked games at home. You've been playing 3 or 4, you need a bit of a break. Imagine here, you got to go through it all, and you have so much on the line. Careers will be made, and if Rogue lose today, I promise you, as we talked before with Jess and Dez, there will be massive shifts in EU League as we go. Consulate will be the first pick here, going Rogue's way. Coastline will be picked by MnM. See how that works out. Again, the 2 ban maps will come out. There's Villa, very technical, removed by Rogue, and Oregon taken away. It's very odd to not be seeing Oregon in play at all, but these are all those target bans that I guess we're going to talk about in just a moment here. Clubhouse and Kafe as theme park is left as a decider. Very fitting, I got to say. James, what's your take on the overall pick ban before we dive deeper into Consulate?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of aspects to unpack, right? I feel like it's going to be a close game. You've got good maps for both teams, as is the way with the best of 5. Me and Gio talked extensively yesterday about best of 5 really being about all you got to do is win your map pick and the decider map pick. And that way, eventually you'll get to map 5 and win the decider. And I think that, yeah, we've got some confidence here. I mean, I can dive deeper into it when you're ready, but I think I've got some confidence that these teams are looking pretty hot on their map picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a look. So if I remember correctly, Kafe was the decider of the game that was yesterday, and we didn't end up going there. So the fact that MnM have picked that, and they've also picked Coastline, 2 maps that we didn't see them play yesterday. So nothing really that Rogue is going to have been able to have looked at from that series and say, okay, we know what you're going to do here. As James just said, you want to focus on your map picks rather than what your opponent has picked. So what's really important is those maps that MnM have picked for themselves. Rogue don't have a ton to go on.
So Consulate then.
I think that's smart.
Consulate in that case. Gio, who do you feel takes it very quickly? Our match is ready. Give me a name.
I'm going to pick Rogue. I'm throw caution to the wind. Let's go with Rogue.
James?
I think it's not very cautious to pick Rogue. MnM lost 7-2 yesterday on Consulate as the opening map of the series, picked by Kavana. Rogue might not have a good record on Consulate, but if they've seen what MnM can do, or more accurately cannot do yesterday, I think Rogue will be pretty happy to take Consulate.
All right, let's see how map number 1 will go. Are Rogue going to go down the road of NA Rogue, or will it be a bit different here in Europe? Is it the promised land? That is all for us to see in the game. Let's see how it all pans out. Rogue versus MnM all begins here. Hap, Fluke, please, my friends, take it away.
Thank you, Milos. It is indeed going to be here, do or die for both these teams. Will Rogue go down into Challenger League for the next season, or is MnM going to be the one that makes it to EUL? 2 of these questions, 2 of the teams that are here right now playing. What do you think, Fluke? Who's going to take this series, or more specifically, this map?
That's a very tough question. That's a very, very tough question to open a very long best of 5 I think we were about to go on. It got a little bit emotional, got a little bit sentimental when they first started joining the lobby, because we can see that was on one team you have Fonkers, on the other team you have Leon. And you're thinking, these 2 battled for a while in Challenger League, and one of them's going to end up either staying or going down there again. I'm excited. I know I've just completely bypassed answering your question, though.
Yeah. I still want an answer. Is it going to be Rogue, or is it MnM that wins this map?
Okay.
You gotta choose.
I do. Rogue picked it, so I'm going to say Rogue based on the fact that if you're picking a map the day after you've seen a team get dismantled on it, you've got to have a game plan in mind. And to be honest, the 7-2, it wasn't the worst dismantling on Consulate we saw yesterday, but at the same time, it was, look at how Kavana played. Look at how quick they were, how able they were to kind of see a bit of space, see a pocket and take it. I got a feeling that Rogue's kind of seen weaknesses there, and they've gone, we can exploit this. We know Consulate. You look at the backbone of who is on Rogue, you're looking at people like Kajeka, who obviously, in and amongst Empire, defined the admin take and brought that to this game. You're looking at people like Leon, who, when he was terrorizing people, throwing himself out of every single window and keeping control of Consulate, they can be big on this map. It's just whether MnM think they can be bigger than yesterday.
It is really weird to see a team like Rogue being in the position they are in right now, because normally they are a team that is qualifying for majors, qualifying for the 6th Invitational, and yeah, okay, they might get first rounded every now and then, but they are normally in that top 4 spot of the region. And right now they managed to go from, well, hero to zero instead of the other way around and find themselves in this relegation spot. And we're going up to Consulate then. The first map choice, like, they have been waiting for this moment for months right now. I talked to Rousty and he said that this was a shadow that was hanging over them. They want to get this over with. They want to show the world that they are not, well, as big of as in a slump as they were before. And then I'm checking the bans right now and I'm seeing that 0. That is quite interesting because, of course, the chems, they give you information. It functions like a Valkyrie almost on the attacking side of the team. You also, of course, have the opportunity to shoot one laser with those things, taking out these gadgets. But I'm just really confused. Like, is it that big of an impact that you have to remove it instead of any other attacking operator?
I think one of the ways of putting it with Rogue, if you want to face this entire thing with a story, is them losing today isn't them hitting the bottom of the barrel, it's breaking through it, because they're already there after what happened and the high expectations that were put on top of them. It was a super team, and it was a super team that really lived up to the name and title. It was thrown around a lot for a while, but everyone kind of went, okay, you can't just call every team with players on a super team. But this was, you know, it was the best of many different places and pockets put together, and they showed it, and then they blowed it. And from now on, it's just this perspective of saying they've, in their sense and their perspective, they've hit that bottom of Pro League. This is where they can start filling that barrel up, and it's going to be with MnM's blood. They're starting a steady approach here onto Consulate, and it's one of those things, as I said before, Karzeka was one of those players from Empire that really built together when this map started to shift a little bit, and you started to see these top admin clears that would then bring themselves back down. It doesn't start like that, though. Usually you get that in the window to try and get rid of the player in the corner, and there is the demonstration matched with a C4 of their own. Blow for blow, it instantly starts, and this is how we're going to continue.
The first one was just a distraction right there, showing them, giving them some hope, some confidence, like we cannot get our grenades in, you shouldn't be too worried about it. But eventually the second one will hit. A 4v4 situation with 2 minutes left of the clock, and the top floor is already slowly being taken right here by Rogue. Normally it's really tough to get inside the administration position here, but it seems like MnM is not really too keen on holding on to it. They're letting Rogue have it. It's not the most important part of this map, especially when you're playing Split. You need to make sure that you keep Visa, or the Tellers rather, under control. And that is exactly what they want to do. They want to keep the manpower for that late round push, maybe for a late round rotation, while still keeping that top floor control in their own hands to some extent, because they still have those 2 players playing on that top floor.
Leon is picking and pricking at everything he can down long. It's a very dangerous firefight to take. Fonkers can swing on the close here to make sure that nobody comes up Visa stairs easily, and there's always a presence and a little bit of a threat. But long desk is no man's territory. Add to that a Banshee, where as soon as you start to try and push, you are in open land and open territory for a very big gun to swing around a corner and put you out of your own misery. Users deep below and buried in the basement of Consulate is looking to try and find any more intel to try and feed and filter to his own C4. One's already been blown and successfully used, and well, why not try and repeat some magic twice? Pulse, so good on this map. So much intel, such a very tight and narrow rectangle. It really beads and bleeds everything in, and Jonker's going to lead on that as he pushes String, and strung out though, as another one falls into Aces, and Leon gets one more suddenly. The collapses completely fell into the hands of MnM. Usus is the only one trying to find any beating hearts left, with his being the last one on MnM to try and match it. They're looking for any and all intel, but with Leon sticking the diffuser down, there is one loose catch, one loose bit of prey. And unfortunately for them, they're not quite able to turn that into a predator. Luckily, they swing in a pack, and the second one strikes.
I wanted to tell you how important it is to have a pulse on this map. It's almost a, well, brain dead decision you want to make, right? You run this map, you're playing downstairs, or you're playing on that split floor, the pulse is coming out. Because from that basement, you are relatively safe. You can basically scan the entire map from there on, so you're always going to be able to feed out that information. However, the information was not able to save MnM right here. Rogue was stronger on the gunfights there. They managed to actually win these and drop down onto the side. Make sure they have that control, and suddenly you're all alone as a Pulse. You might still have that C4 available to you, but it's not going to be able to do much with 40 seconds left, as you might be able to kill one, but you're never going to be able to get all four with one C4. So, well played by Rogue right there, able to make their first attack stick straight away. And I think that was like a little bit of a trial side of MnM. You often see teams choosing the tertiary bomb side to start off with, or the offside as some people call it, just so they can get it over with. And if you manage to get a win, well, that's one in the rotation of 3 that you no longer have to fight. And if you lose it, you just go back to your normal rotation to 1, 2, 3. And that is exactly what MnM is doing right now. They're going bottom floor, which then should be their primary bomb site.
Well, that's the first one on the board for Rogue and MnM. Slight slip-ups and missed opportunities, but as you said, it's the first round, and it's a round they're playing on a site that isn't always the first round site. But for everyone who watched the epic that played out yesterday, MnM on Club was little mistakes that led to big disaster. There was a lot of rounds, and they've said this themselves on Twitter, where they could have played things a little bit better. Could have played things a little bit tighter, but things got a little bit loose. And from then on, rounds started to slip through their fingers. You hope that what we saw there was not a continuation of that story, but in fact, as you said, a little bit of a sly play into a slightly slyer game. Now, they start themselves upward again. Kozeka looking for any and all intel on this top story. Finds a pest and is trying to become one of his own as more and more drones filter the way across the top floor on both sets of stairs.
Might not be finding Dats right there. He's just hiding. Eternally and Gids will be missing that one. They're probably aware of the fact that one is on the top of the yellow stairs, but onto the cubicle or the box right there next to the actual site might be the one that is more dangerous to find. The damage being done down into Funkus, who will be rotating back towards the piano after he tried to contest the yellow stairs window, but no kill coming down quite yet. So that means we already have a slower start right now compared to what we had in the previous round.
And that's it. That's the kind of steady game it seems like MnM want to play. Obviously, this is a less kind of aggressive site on the top floor. And they set themselves with a bit of a longer hold, but there's still presence, still potential, and still a C4 underneath the feet of the Ash twice in a row. But this time, no frag grenade to try and match the meter and the pace as MnM pull a body ahead and find a clean opener.
Yeah, Corey not really having the best of starts in the game right now. He's being designated as the designated C4 clearance man, as he managed to catch 2 already with the exchange of his life. As we are in that 4v5 situation, that is the advantage for MnM right now, that they need to try and utilize to the, well, best capacity as they can. Those are still holding out inside of the bathroom. It is a very common spot that often teams do want to take control of, as that hatch gives you extra lines of sight to behind a white van, for example, and many others. As well, yellow pink coming in, dealing a little bit of damage to Nafe. Not enough to take him out, though.
Long angles being peppered, and there it is. Nafe goes down. The intel and the pings lead directly to the heart and the soul of a very troubled Smoke. And you look at the operator that's off the board, 30 seconds left, all his canisters. They need him back up. They need to stop this swing in, and Jonka's going to do just that. Takes aces on the bottom of yellow stairs now, and they're looking for one more. There it is, Sophia, led straight to, tried to get the third, but couldn't quite make it happen on the garage door. It's Leon, who's still holding it locked down with Kozeka, trying to offer some support from the side of bottom of yellow. They're looking towards behind the van, but they don't find it as Funkus finds Leon, and now it's just a matter of trying to clear through impossible smokes, and, well, taking 11 seconds to lose your life elsewhere. Uses cleans it up in piano and writes his own symphony, which is, hey, you got one, we'll get one back.
There you have it, MnM able to strike back straight away. The loss of yesterday is something they have to put out of their heads right now, because if you're going into this matchup knowing and thinking about your loss about yesterday, you might already have lost this matchup as well. They need to go in with a clean mind space. They need to go into this match like any other and knowing what's at stake. Maybe even trying to put that out of sight. Like, you just need to play at your best, but as soon as you start weighing in everything that's at stake, just at least a year full of competitive play in EUL, because that is what's going on. There's no more 2 relegations a year. It is going to be 3 splits starting from, well, after the 6th Invitational up until the next 6th Invitational, that these players would have a spot in a Tier 1 competition in Europe. That is what's at stake right here, right now. And all 10 of these will know it. All 10 of them will be aware of that. Rogue will be thinking about what they could be losing, as you know, they already had it for a long while. And MnM, well, many of these players have gotten close before, but they never quite made it.
Well, now we find ourselves onto lobby. It's been blow for blow and a piece for piece, but kind of curious to see how the top floor plays out. It's a more steady, stoic hold that is done on the second, depending how you define the second stories on this. I go by this is the ground floor, and the other one's first, but according to the NA game developers, that's the second story on the top there, and it's something that you've got to hold on to a little bit more. We saw, as I described on long, a push against the long desk from Maestro before, which you don't really have to do on this. They don't need that kind of aggression towards the opposite side of admin. The attackers need a little bit more solid control across the entirety of the top floor, which might buy them a little bit more time and a little bit more life.
I have to say the drone game of Rogue is really on point. The amount of yellow pings I have been seeing coming in and the amount of drones that will be pre-placed and not being found by any of these defenders is really helping them out. It might not show on the scoreboard yet, but they definitely managed to, in that first round, pick up quite a few players due to the fact that they had information on them. And information is key in a game like Rainbow Six Siege. It's 90% of the game, really, and all you have to do with that information is take them out. Second, and as we are with 2 minutes left, you see Gazeka opening up above the reinforcement. You might be thinking, why would they be doing that? That's a waste of bullets, but it's just purely to get a grenade through. And that grenade might be able to take out the mute jammer, maybe even a player behind it if you angle it right. And that allows for a player like Leon Gids with the ace and Selmas to open up onto that wall, create a line of sight directly into Projector, and just push out that player.
Well, long angles held in a long time for someone to actually bite the dust this time around. Longest every single player's still been on the board. Don't want to point eyes towards Corey, but I guess it's only a matter of time before any of those 3 C4s might find their way towards the Ash's feet. Able to actually start getting some aggression done here across the long desk. Fonkers or Jonker isn't in a position to swing round and try and make conkers out of the opponent, so they're just going to hold themselves here on the yellow stairs and pay a little bit more attention and heed to the pressure that might come from underneath. Corey looks like they're going to start trying to push from garage, get beneath yellow stairs and try and offer a double pinch against any of the bodies that might be playing, but with 2 underneath, including a pulse, it's not going to be an easy approach.
It's definitely not going to be easy, but at least he didn't get picked up by a C4 yet, and that means that the R4C is still in play, still able to potentially pick up one of these players below, maybe even 2, as the first of smoke canisters is being tossed out. It's MnM that seems to know that the diffuser will be coming from that side as Nave picks up the first kill. It is going to be up to Gazeka right now to try and respond, try and find that smoke, because that would open up so much. It would be such a quality of life improvement for this one round, and in these last 25 seconds, Corey now entering from below needs to make some work done.
While the Crouch Walking Ash has found their way close towards the opposite side here, it's down to the Pulse to give that information to users, or just a little bit of audio, but with 15 seconds, it's actually the grenade that takes one. There's a trade on the opposite side. The Pulse is coming from underneath, giving everything they can to the front door. The diffuser goes close, but not quite down. They can't quite get Karsheka, but he sure gets them. There's the trade by Nave. There's a cold diffuser, and there is a round going. Oh no, how did they get it? The Claymore!
No way that the Claymore saved that round. He just should have stayed put. They got that diffuser down. And just because Corey manages to get this kill in a chain with it, Rogue are able to pick up the round fluke because of the player below. The Pulse was not being patient enough. At that moment in time, when you drop that diffuser, when you get that kill on side, you wait. You stay put. You don't do anything out of the ordinary, because was that Ash Claymore as well? I think it was an Ash Claymore.
I saw the diffuser go cold. 10 seconds. I saw Pulse down beneath. I was like, well, the round's theirs. They can't physically get to the and then 2-1. 2-1.
I really wonder if that was a Claymore from Ash. I like, because she got one right now, right? I'm not sure. Like the Claymore was shut out. No, the C4 was shut out. I mean, when it was being tossed up by the Pulse. Not that it mattered because the diffuser actually died. I'm trying to check quickly. Yeah, the Ash did indeed have a Claymore.
It must have been on Visa's stairs, surely. The Pulse would have come around there and wanted to go up towards the second story to get a lockdown from above.
No, I don't think so.
Well, where else would you...
Like, I mean, Corey came in from the side of the garage, so there's no way that he managed to put it up there. So I think it's either going to be on Spiral or it's going to be on Yellow, because he never really cleared out the complete bottom, given the fact that the pulse was still there. So it had to be...
You're going to have to watch that one back.
Yeah, I'm having it open right now on the replay, so I'm going to see if we got that on screen. I'm going to try and find out in the meantime, but that was an Ash Claymore that came through. Like, she lost the breaching rounds, I believe. Or flashbangs, actually. She lost the flashbangs. Claymore came back into place and, well, picked up a kill with it. There you have it.
Ash mains. There you go. 2-1. Now, and another Claymore goes down. Corey building upon success, but is bringing the IQ this time round. Wow. That was close to a double, but unfortunately for MnM, both players of Rogue are still able to keep themselves standing. Swinging is probably the more preferred term, as they get themselves stacked up and ready to try and push from the top again. They're going for a similar take. The difference here from MnM's side is they're being much more aggressive. Dats is locked in, a different operator with a different mentality. Look at those beautiful ADSs that sing and dance around him. He's going to play and juggle them to make sure that he can keep catching this artillery. And look at this. This is a response, a direct retaliation to how the push happened last time. And without them getting this Jaeger, and with the pressure that's much tighter from Junker on long desk, they've got to go for a plan B.
That's what they're doing right now. The rotation has been called, and they are indeed rotating all the way around to the western side of the building, meaning that the windows will directly be contested right here. As Corey tosses in a drone, tries to find out whether or not some player is actually close. It doesn't seem to be the case, and that means that as Rips gets onto those double windows right there on the balcony, you might see an entry coming in soon. Funkers, actually, top of Yellow, has an opportunity to try and contest if he would have a line of sight, which he doesn't, meaning he would have to go for the gunfight. I'm talking about gunfights, it's going to be Liam Gitz that picks up the first one. Junker will go down. That is no more evil eyes that are in place on this split side. Of course, you can still use them for information, and information is definitely key for this side, as a lot of C4s will potentially be utilized right here, as you still see only one left, actually, on Nave. So he is the one that needs to make a count to make sure that this plant won't go down.
Timer keeps ticking, and so do the drones as they buzz around and try and get a hold on Fonkers. He still has an impact to try and rotate his way, and now he doesn't because he's rotated his way out and right into Leon Gitz. Takes the kill. He tries to apply some pressure. Is caught, though, just in the nick of time. Corey finds him and gets a little bit of revenge. The trade is theirs, but so is only 45 seconds, as now they need to try and push this man advantage and actually apply some pressure towards the site. Seems like they're dipping in underneath this time, not going to try and take it into Tellers directly, and Archive seems to be the MO with Nafe buried in. They saw how much was on the top floor, but Dats is still on the top floor. Finds Rips, they find Pulse in response, and Karzek has found his way all the way through into the heart of site. Corey's the one with the diffuser, but the response is coming through from Nafe, heading towards those hatches, heading towards those Visa stairs, but the bodies of Blue are heading towards that site.
All hatches are closed. There's no way they can rotate back. This is the only staircase they can do it from, as right now Nave is pushing Corey off the actual defuse by opening up some holes, but he's the last man standing. Opens up that final hatch. 4 seconds left. Is he going to be able to stop it? No, he will not be. And Aces picks up that final kill. There you have it. Rogue able to win yet another round as they decided to go for the bottom floor right here. Take Archive. Only wasn't there, and the right call was made. As they managed to get the defuser down and managed to get the kills down. It's Rogue that is leading massively right now on Consulate.
Wow. I would, leading massively, I think it's a bit of an overstatement. I'm still kind of blown away of what happened in the previous round, the round before.
It was actually Visa Stairs, you were right. I just checked it.
Yeah, see, because
I just don't know how she got up there. Well, how did Corey get up there? That's
I have
what
no
I
idea.
was wondering about.
Must have done it earlier on in the round, but it definitely had to be there because we saw the Pulse try and put pressure onto Karzeka. I know we're still talking about a round, but like 2 rounds ago, we saw it. We saw the Pulse.
Oh, it was actually... Wait, we got it wrong. It was Rips' Claymore. It was not Yash.
Rips' Claymore.
Yeah, okay.
I
So
mean,
that
you
explains.
saw
That
by
explains. Yeah, well, I saw Corey playing below, and I saw the guy dying below, so I was like, it's only logical to assume it's the Yash. But it was Rips. And that would explain why that Claymore was there, because Corey was never in Visa.
Yep. Anyway, as I was saying, though, I think that was one of those rounds where all Pulse had to do was not die, and that would have been their round. Based on the timing, I don't think the attackers had time to get to the diffuser. That's why they pushed for the kill. So it could very easily be 2-2 at this point, but Rogue's adaptive game so far looks very good. They very quickly read that they couldn't get that first kill that was so necessary to take care of admin. They would have been able to get it in a trade situation. They could have just swung 2 people in on the windows at the same time. Probably, I'm saying would have, it's a possibility. But they didn't opt for it. They opted for an entirely different plan, an entirely different take. And it came down to the wire, sure, in a 2 versus 1 that could have almost been a 1 versus 1, but it came through. And that was the adaptation from Rogue. And that level of teamwork and that level of kind of conception, which we didn't really see too much of in the second split.
We haven't seen it indeed. They were plagued by changes that had to be made. The consistency wasn't able to be found back. And, well, luckily for them, there's been a long while since that stage 2 came through. And there you have it, Corey able to pick up the first kill onto Dats. That is going to be opening up the score yet again in favor of Rogue. And that is going to be allowing them potentially to continue this momentum that they're starting to build up. Yes, Consulate is more of a balanced side of map, but 3-3 wouldn't be too strange to see in terms of scoreline, but it's looking like Rogue is wanting to make this a 4-2 or maybe even a 5-1 split the way they're going right now.
Corey is juggling through operators. Obviously, 2 false starts on an Ashe at the beginning of the game, but since then has been able to pick someone apart every single time with a different body and a different bit of potential. Now, let's see if he can try and apply some chaos into users who's actually just not going to take that. And that's why the wall was being opened just behind them. There's 3 bodies closing down on a bathroom with a lot of attention in, and now that attention is entirely Rogues. They set themselves up with more of those terrifying claymores and take a hold of Piano.
Now Rogue adapted really well right here to the previous time they were trying to attack this. They are able now to take control of that bathroom. That means they also have the angle from the hatch, something they weren't able to achieve in the previous round. They were attacking this bomb side, and that means they have changed the setup and now trying to find something that's working better for them. And as grenades are being tossed in from above, they're not able to find any kills yet, but it might be able to take out some of the utility, and that would be able to help them and assist them in these last 50 seconds as the execute is coming closer, whilst Funkers is actually just waiting in bench. He might be able to pick up a free kill right here onto Aces. They had no clue, and he just jumps back down the hatch and is able to safely sit behind the pillar right here.
Well, that was a very big strike. He knew the route he wanted to take, and he was lucky that nobody was paying enough attention to be able to catch him. There it is, though. Gajeka from above takes care of Funkers stuck between the van and the car, and now it's down to Leon to see if he can apply this final 20 seconds and get himself in. The worry is Nafe still has those smoke canisters. Not sure if there's a Maestro cam, still with an eye towards the entrance there, but they're going to try it and they're going to fail it, and they're going to try it slightly somewhere else. Kajeka finds users and the swing comes around on the back stairs, but there it is, bodies all the way across, and Yonka to trade it off at the end is not enough to stop it going to 4-1.
Have to give credit right there to Rogue. As soon as that plan came down, you saw that MnM started rotating towards the side. The call gets made. You see the Maestro moving up towards the hallway in the side, and you saw Rips on the Zofia realizing, all right, this is when I have to go for a little bit of a swing, because otherwise he's maybe allowed to go back to the side, get some kills right there. So, like, I like the little bit of adaptive play coming in, right? The dancing together, like one knows and the other joins in the movement right there, and Rip's able to get that trade eventually. 4-1 as we speak, and Rogue are ahead. They are still ahead. They were struggling throughout stage 2, but there's been plenty of time for them to pick themselves back up, to get themselves ready for this moment. And when I talked to the coach, they said they were definitely ready. They have been screaming out of their minds to make sure that everything would be as it should be. And for now, on Consulate, things are looking good for them, but it's way too early to tell in this best of 5 series. Keep that in mind. It's way too early to tell which one will be able to make it. Right now, looking good for Rogue, but it's their own map pick, so they should be looking good on this map.
Yeah, it's always one of those kind of question and asks, is, as Dev pointed out on the desk, this was played by MnM yesterday, and it wasn't played great by MnM yesterday. It was a map where they seemed a little bit not awake and aware of the game that Kavana wanted to play, which was a quick, aggressive, team-driven game. And where we saw lapses from MnM on Consulate yesterday was a little bit of a lack of response. The easiest one to point the finger at and go, this is the point that I'm making, is the round where it was a basement push that came as a quick drop through a hatch. They got the opening frag, and then there was no response from MnM to try and restack and reevaluate. Yes, okay, they had put down hard defenses like mirror windows, but they hadn't really been able to do something to stop the stem and the flow of Kavana players. And here, The quick responses we're seeing from Rogue are giving little bits of flashbacks towards how that game came out yesterday.
These C4s really have to stop Fluke. It's like the 6th round actually. They're trying to get the kill with a C4 somewhere. Rogue is just ready for it now, debating them out, and that is going to be the one and only C4 gone without even dealing a single point of damage to any of the Rogue players right here. Those are so much more valuable if you manage to keep them into the late round. Use them as a plan denial device, or maybe even as a threat. Rip up that Velcro, let them know that you still have one, and suddenly they're not really willing to go for a push anymore, not willing to stick a plan, because any time, any second, that C4 could be raining in. Right now, you're tossed out. You don't have any left, and it's going to be Corey that opens up the score yet again. Users will fall, and that is going to be your mute gone.
Yeah, Users the first off the board for the first time. Was able to get an entry earlier on, but that's 2 in a row for Corey to be able to find his way in. I guess he was a little bit mad about being dropped as the entrance the first 2 times, but still a lot to build on. The Claymore that was successful before from Rips goes back down, but you assume there's going to be a little bit more awareness of it this time round. A slow and steady clear across the top comes out from Karjaka. They're looking towards the body that's playing towards the top of Yellow. How aware of it they are? It doesn't seem like they are. Fonkers swings round and strikes one. Might not know about the second, but is definitely going to pay attention towards the possibility of it. Takes care of a very sleepy Karjaka, and that's going to really awaken things because they've just lost their sledge on a piano potential take.
Really sloppy right here from Rogue, not droning out or not paying attention to that bathroom right there. Funker's allowing to hide, is going to be able to pick up that kill. Right now, however, Leon Gids is able to respond onto Junker. That is your Maestro gone, and Rogue is not seeming to slow down. They're starting to make this push coming down. Rips is running down. Funkers, in the meantime, is descending the stairs as well. He knows he needs to make a play if they want to make something happen right here. It's going to be Leon Gids that's in the middle of the side. We'll be able to pick up yet another kill. Funkers, however, will be able to find a response. Turns it back into a 2-2 together with that. That's who is low. On the back of the Visa stairs, it's Leon Gids, however, on the actual side, deep inside of the kitchen, is going to be able to, and being allowed to put down the plant as well, whilst Aces is going for that cover. They just don't seem to know that one is coming down from the yellow stairs, however. And as Funkus picks up that kill, it is going to be up to Leon Gids, all alone right now in a clutch situation. Is he going to be able to pick up both kills? That is going to be the main question here.
2 versus 1 and spotted on a cam. Leon's dancing, but they know exactly where he is. It's going to come down to who swings and who clicks a little bit faster. Dats is on a sliver of HP. Funkers is on even less as he gets the kill. There was almost a time for it, but Leon doesn't care!
Leon Gids or Leon Gods?
Well,
beautiful.
On that, let's have a quick break, shall we? Quick little lad.
A quick break to get some drinks.
Oh hey, we're back after that.
Hey.
That was a
casually.
That was a
Nice.
moment just to get some cold air.
Yeah, that was a good moment to quickly hydrate ourselves again, quickly take a sip after that. Well, 1v2 clutch that Leon Gids just put down. Diffuser down, knew exactly where they were. Got surprised by the second one, however, but it didn't scare him off. He still managed to get that shot down. And that leaves us in a 5-1 in scoreline, Fluke. And you know what that means? MnM is in trouble.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, what does it mean? I thought that was a question, but you were just...
No.
You were just setting yourself up. The thing about...
Sometimes you have to throw up the ball for yourself.
Yeah. The thing about there with Leon's push, or Leon's response to the push, was MnM did everything right. They knew it was a 2 versus 1. They had the ping and the idea exactly on the doorway where he was, and they pushed at the same time. What Leon did there was Leon pushed in against Fonkers, pushed into the room, realized that they were going to try a 2 versus 1, and went, well, I'm going to shut down on this. And that's why the shots from behind him, from Dats, whizzed and whiffed. He instantly swung round towards the area was. So, you know, you've unfortunately gone up against Leon on a God's Day, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there.
I think the thing is, like, Leon thought they were coming from security, the other guy, right? So he swung in, pre-firing that, assuming they would be coming in. By doing so, he saved his own life and allowed him to pick up the second kill as well. So basically, on a mistake in terms of information, his life got saved.
I do also like that the round that we had we also had Fonkers going bonkers. Every time either of those players light up, I'm just like, memories.
Memories from Team Secret.
Well, talking of memories, there's a C4. 3 C4s.
Did he use it too?
4 C4s. And 1
Very
mid.
C4 heavy. And 2 Echo drones, 2 Yokais that will be allowed to be played as Users goes down first. Leon gets able to pick up the first one. The man is on an absolute tear right now together with Karzeka. Those two are unstoppable, it seems like. And his Nafe is just checking the site. His teammates are following around him.
Well, a quick drop there, and Fonkus goes to an HP, but the person trying to enter goes to even less as the diffuser carrier Nafe is gone. There goes Fonkus too. Suddenly it's only Das left outside. Rogue refused to even let them in to the Consulate. They said, nope, the papers are incorrect. Go back and come again next round. A minute 30. And we started to see on the previous Rogue attacks that at this point no one had been dropped. And at this point, for MnM, almost everybody's been dropped. Dats is the only one left standing outside a very ominous open garage door. They're using the Echo drones to try and get pings and peeks, but look at that as well. Banshees on yellow stairs, guns on every entrance, and a minute on the clock. Well, this is probably team talk time. Oh, no it isn't.
But there's no time for team talk time. It's a flawless round from Rogue, putting them up on 6-1 right now. So this is the moment where you're MnM and you're like, alright, this map yesterday, we played it. Didn't really go well. We have to play it again because it's a best of 5. That means we start off with picks and not with bans. And Rogue picked it. Are you taking your loss in this one, or are you still going to try right now? Like, it's 6-1. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to come back from this, but never say never, as we have seen crazy comebacks happen.
I mean, it's weird. I just want to kind of point out how I think every single first map throughout this entire tournament so far has been just a wash for one team.
Yes. We've seen a 7-0, seen a 7-2.
We might see a 7-1.
We might see another 7-1 coming in right here. You know, it's all still on the table.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are able to make something happen now, yeah?
Someone's put some sort of curse upon the first maps, and it's down to MnM to try and break that right now. We've seen teams come back from tricky situations. We saw Na'Vi come back very, very well. Obviously, unfortunately, didn't quite get all the way against BDS the other day. But to go from that first map to where they were in the second map, and then the pressure they were able to put on the third map, you know, that's massive credit. That's a really tough mental game to be able to pull back from that kind of loss towards that kind of success. It's not as bad right now for MnM, I would say, but also MnM still have to do that undoable. They have to try and be able to pull themselves back in against a Rogue that is looking a lot more like Split 1 Rogue than Split 2 Rogue. But 6-1, 5 in a row. If they want to get OT or attack, can MnM pull something out the back?
I think that's the thing there that you just mentioned. They are looking a lot more like Stage 1 Rogue, and that is basically what they have been, well, practicing for these last couple of weeks, because it's been a while since the last EUL game. It's been a long time they've had to prepare themselves for these relegations, and as Corey's allowed to rotate out without being punished by any of the repellents, it is going to be Rogue that is must be feeling confident right now, being up 6-1 on your first map on an MnM that, well, suffered a devastating defeat against Kavana Gaming. Their UK counterparts managed to qualify for EUL, a dream they wanted to realize themselves, but weren't allowed to yet. They get their second chance now, but Rogue is not seeming to give them anything so far. Not a single, well, square meter of room.
Well, clearing their way across admin and taking care of all the proximities and any alarms that might otherwise give the game away. They still have a lot of real estate left to try and conquer, and a C4 is going to make things a little bit more trepidatious. That's both C4s gone blown and missed. Unfortunately, no success there so far, but Aces finds it with a gun instead. Fonkus is the first off the board there, as a man who was obviously a little bit benched before is showing up in a big way right now, obviously manipulating that pretty well.
He's definitely using his room well, and Well, I talked to Roosty. He said there was some role changes coming, and I said, what about Aces? Because that's the only one he didn't mention. And he's like, nah, nothing changed for him. He's just running around killing, opening up the gaps, and seeing where the weak points of the enemy are, and that is exactly what we know Aces to do. He just roams around, somehow finds a kill or two every single round, and manages to make it work, and that's kind of a strength of Rogue as well. Like, if you have a player like that manages to basically handicap the team you're playing against every single round by something they do not expect, that is going to be making life a lot easier, especially on a match point like this where you're fighting 4v5 right now with only 50 seconds left, and, well, the attackers are yet to arrive at the actual site.
That was one of the things they used to say as well, is when Leon first came over to this roster, it was like, oh god, Leon and Aces on the same team? Unbelievable. And, well, it's seeing it in practice that's the big difference. Rips, creeps through, but they don't quite catch the diffuser partner, but watch Corey at the top of the screen. He's able to sneak his way all the way around to the spiral, but it's the trade that happens on the door. They don't quite catch Nate, but there he goes, and there it goes. Corey. I said watch him, and he's the one that finds his way all the way back. Usus tries to get control on the second story, but they're just going to stick it this time around. There's the Banshee. There's no sticking. They hurt him. They see him. They drop him, and now it's just a matter of getting the diffuser down. He's not quite finished. Sophia. They're trying to pull themselves back up, but with 20 seconds and a man upstairs somehow! Aces goes down a 1 versus 1. They lost it. They picked themselves up just in time. Corey versus Usus. Gonna try and stick it again. Oh! There it is, Usus!
The withstand is able to save the round here for MnM. Usus is able to not just quite get the shot, he gets down through the flooring, but manages to crawl back just enough so the angle is not being found by the Rogue players. Picks himself back up, and he's able to get both of them here. And Nate for saying, have some of that. That's exactly the spirit right here, because it pushes up us up to 6-2 right now. They're 1 round closer to making OT. Still 4 to go, but this is definitely a good way to start. It's also a bit of a tilter to lose against a round like this one. And if Rogue is going to be able to, well, if you're going to be able to tilt Rogue just a little bit as MnM right now, that might be good for this map, and maybe even for the maps to come.
Gotta give credit to Nate for sticking that as well. Just taking the diffuser and burying it. As I said and saw, bodies were dropping all around him, and it would be very easy and very common for a lot of other players, especially when you're looking at the ground for 7 seconds. If the man behind you, your cover, dies to someone in antechamber, the response is to try and swing round and get the trade. If that had happened, if they hadn't got the diffuser, then the timing of Corey coming around would have stopped the plant going down and would have prevented Usus from doing Usus. What a play, what a moment. Hey, you withstand, you just want it more. You gotta save your kid. Is that the law? That's the law, I think.
I actually don't know what the law is.
I think that's it's the law reason.
That much.
Sophia's not giving in. Gotta save the kid.
Well, she definitely saved MnM right there.
Yeah.
From
MnM,
the mice.
Usus did that for you guys because he loves you so much.
Give him real life withstand ability.
Withstand Rogue 6-2. You've still got a lot of withstanding left to do. They've opted for the same site, and they're going to try and lock it down in a similar way. Hey, almost had the cake and ate it too, but unfortunately, someone pulled something impressive off against you. MnM, they're stacking themselves up and making sure they have a little bit of a difference in their take this time. Going for a little bit more clarity around the site, and knowing that they probably can't pull off the Hail Mary. Nath, go in and stick your head down play yet again. It's a heads in moment, as Ace of Pyrite would say, and let's see if they can translate it into a little bit more success. Pushing Leon further and further back underneath and away into a more stressful situation. They need to get this bloodline of information and intel out of the way, but Karjeka on the top floor is making sure that it's as easy as possible.
Are they thinking about going for a bit of a jump out on the balcony? I'm not quite sure, but they know that at least one of them is out there. There you have it. Ace is jumping out. He's going to be able to pick up 1 kill, and that's the diffuser dropped as well. But Usus in the meantime able to pick up 1 kill. Another one will follow as Dats gets a grenade in onto the head of Rips. That is going to be a smoke on. But Ace is yet again for a jump out. It's going to be able to pick up yet another kill before Corey gets shut down by Funkers. It's a true frag fest coming down right here, and only 2 remain of Rogue right now, whilst Funkers is having that basement control. Junker still repelled up, and Dats in the meantime is in sight, going for that plant soon, whilst Karjeka wants to get control of the CEO office, and Aces is going to be helping him. Are they even aware of the fact that the diffuser is being planted? I don't think so.
Apparently not, and there's the pick down, but there's Karjeka, and there's one more. MnM, they waited, and they took control. and they're able to make it into something. Rogue, they threw themselves at that one, literally and metaphorically, a little bit aggressively that time, and unfortunately for them, MnM seemed to have a little bit of cool under their belt and a little bit of calm under the hood as they pulled themselves into a little bit more success.
Now imagine, Fluke, if we're going all the way up to overtime from that one withstand ability on. Imagine
the Reddit threads about now.
Imagine the scenes. Not just that. Imagine the tweets that will be coming out right after that.
I feel like
we lost the game because of withstand, and I mean they wouldn't be wrong because that is literally what caused everything to go downhill if that's the case. Because right now it's only 3 rounds left to OT.
Hey. It's a very prophetic way to do it, and I assume there's already tweets. In fact, the medics has even said that as well. I can already see a million Sophia posts. 6-3. The gap is slightly less wide, but in no way less formidable. We've seen Rogue play a very excellent Consulate so far, and we've seen 2 rounds slip and slide. Unfortunately, away from the pretty flawless way they opened up their defenses. They still have a lot left in the canister, and this was the site where they were so successful before. So let's see if they can replicate that, or if MnM have picked up on a little trick or two over the past 2 and themselves with a little bit more left to fight for.
Even then, a 7-1 is not feeling as well as losing 7-3. 7-3 sounds a lot closer as well as a 7-1, even though it's still, to many, not considered close. But as MnM, it might be seen as improvement compared to what they played yesterday on the map Consulate. And thus they might be getting a bit more confident as soon as they go on, because confidence is, well, every now and then key.
Confidence is key. Like a motivational speaker or a poster that hangs up. We'll see if they can actually find something out of it. Look at Rips paying so much attention to the entrance here on admin. Really wants to catch anybody that might get a little bit close, feeding all of that intel, and that is what makes Pulse so beautiful. 2 stories, 2 tiers, all fed to a Pulse hungry for a little bit more. Rotation coming around as they make sure that they're ready to respond to any of the entrances. With the bodies on the top floor too, it's MnM that are picking and prodding and trying to find where the easiest entrance point is and where they might be able to capitalize and catapult themselves into a firefight. It seems like Long Desk might be the first breakdown, and it is. Corey finds Rogue, and Users, well, finds a bit of response from, because even there it is, a blow for blow, as Rogue actually find themselves with a little bit more solidity.
That's in the meantime moving in from Projector. Knows 1 or 2 are still up on that top floor. It's tasked up to him to try and take them out. Rotations or lines aside are being created from the man up on the rappel, and the drone will follow. In the meantime, however, you see the Rogue members, Aces and Corey, already both rotating down back to the site. They've gotten their gain. They managed to take out Funkers. That is a profit. Even though you lost Leon Gets right here, you are now falling back. You're now tucking yourselves in, playing as a turtle, and hoping that these last 90 seconds will go well for you. You don't want to go for yet another round and then possibly yet another round. You don't want this to go and slowly creep towards the OT, because it's already doing so right now. And as that's right now, and Piano has the opportunity of opening up all these angles with that sledgehammer to potentially harass the players close to that garage wall.
Well, the C4 blows, but they don't catch anybody as Piano starts to fall above them. That's hitting discordantly to try and get any eyes and beat on anybody that might be playing towards pipes. Nobody is there strictly so far, but with the Echo drone, making sure they have a little bit of intel still back in the site. It's going to come down to this firefight on Spiral to start putting pressure on the backside. It goes against the aggressors as Aces is able to take care of Yonka. Now with the Pulse still playing in Archive, still getting all of that intel and feeding it back to those Rowan players. They're happy to go back in. We said they were a big part of this Rogue roster and how much danger they can cause, and here it is being caused all against MnM. The diffuser's cold outside of that garage, and with only 30 seconds and 2 players left and a long way to get it, well, it's not looking great right now.
It's definitely not looking great in these last 20 seconds. Users will be able to get 1 kill down. However, that's in the meantime will be traded upon by Aces. Another kill coming in. Users able to pick up that one, but now there's the Banshee slowing him down whilst he's being shot from above. There's 9 seconds left. He doesn't have the diffuser. This is game over. This is match number 1 towards Rogue, as Gerzeka gets that last kill. It's the good halves to be coming in. The withstand did not save the game, but it definitely saved them some rounds right here. Rogue still, however, winning map number 1.
Well, a pretty intense opener, I think it's fair to say. It kind of looked a little bit one-sided at one point, and it seemed like everything was growing Rogue's way. A heck of a hero play by users and Nafe, and they were able to pull something back. But, hey, it was Rogue's map, and we've still got a lot of maps left.
There's still a lot of maps left, and before we head into those, we're quickly going to a small break before the analysts are breaking this one down.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the analyst desk. I have two odious voices here that unfortunately you guys couldn't hear with all the singing from the heart. But you know what?
We're going to talk. Me.
You were also singing, Gio. So
was I singing?
You were.
You sang along.
You did.
I got you
so let's just not get into that. Let's sing the praises of Rogue. Why don't we? Because they end up victorious in a similar fashion to what we saw MnM losing map 1 yesterday against Kovana. What's the reasoning here behind this? MnM expecting it? Is just putting away? What do you think, James?
Well, I feel like regardless of other factors, Rogue has just got to be happy that they've won a map, because it's been a long damn time, right? Yeah, they played the 6 Invitational qualifiers, got eliminated by Makers, and they did win one game earlier in that round of 16, but like it wasn't against a team of this caliber. So yeah, Rogue have got to take that away and be happy. But yeah, keep in mind, this is Consulate, right? We saw MnM lose cons to Kovana yesterday at 7-2. Oh, Leon, get hyped here, mate.
He should.
Love it. Let's go, boys. If you look at the longer history of Consulate, like, it's not actually a good map for Rogue. The last time they played it, they lost it to Empire 7-2. Before that, they lost it to G2. And they had some wins in the past, but for the most part, pretty poor record going into history. So I think that this is just good doing the homework from Rogue, right? They knew that MnM was bad at this map. They looked at it. They saw that MnM liked to play the 0. They banned that out, and then they just go from there.
I think also, you can definitely look at individuals too, and not only is it that they've won the map ban phase for that particular map, but it's also, you can see that individual improvement. One of the players we talked about at the beginning was Karjeka, who came from, the venerated team Empire, and everyone thought he was going to be this amazing force for Rogue, and didn't seem to show up as much, and people couldn't quite figure out what the problem was there. But he looked a lot stronger and more stable in this game so far. Now, obviously, we're only one map in, and the really important question is, can the stamina carry them forwards, and is that going to last? But he seemed to be doing his job pretty consistently where he needed to be. He was playing a lot of Sledge on the attack, a lot of that soft breach role, which we've seen him on before. And he was getting a decent number of kills. He had a positive KD. I also noticed a couple of, pre-placed drones that he set up before their attacking phase on a couple of the rounds that also looked pretty solid as well. So I think that's really good to see. Leon too, being another player who I think is kind of notable for having some good moments where he just sort of looked clean, it looked more coordinated, it looked like everyone was on the same page.
I also want to give a moment to ask the chat room, actually, as they're watching right now, what do you think about the withstand ability and how it was used? I know nobody's been on Twitter, nobody's checked the subreddit or seen chat, so it's just it's a non-point, right? Withstand, good ability does the job when necessary, I guess. But there's preparation for Coastline. Okay, I don't know if you can echo this, you guys, but MnM, we know they're not that great on Consulate. You talked about Rogue, James, but we saw how MnM played yesterday. Maybe they just wanted to get this map out of the way and then move on to something new. How does Coastline then look for this performance? Expectations for that map?
Well, I mean, in terms of Consulate, like MnM, they might not have known for sure they were going to play it because it's not a good map for Rogue, but that's why Rogue picked it straight out of the gate rather than moving it to the second pick, so that was a good move from them. But yeah, to talk Coastline for a minute, MnM are decent on it. Like, if I only have a couple of results that I've seen them play Coastline, they beat We Don't Care in the 6 Invitational qualifiers. They beat Kavana. They drew with Kavana during the Challenger League season. Now, that was a really good game. I actually feel like Kavana was the better team in that matchup. The way they played Coastline, I think it was a more reliable playstyle. And while Rogue don't necessarily have a lot of Coastline history, in fact, the only game I've seen them play since July 2020 was one match in GSA, and that was Yongsego, and it was GSA, and it's a team called Fact. So, like, you really can't count that, right? So, for all intents and purposes, MnM don't really have anything to go on in terms of reading Rogue on Coastline. They just got to play their own game, but because of that kind of lack of knowledge that we have about Rogue's form on Coast, it's not even one of their most banned maps. It's like third most banned, so meh. I feel like they do have a chance to potentially have studied, researched MnM and be ready for it.
I actually think this leans a bit more into MnM's favor, purely because, you know, the fact that we saw them play it in Challenger League and put up a fight against Kovana, who have now just qualified for EUL, so they're a very decent team, it suggests that it's one that kind of sits in their map pool anyway, whereas given the fact that Rogue haven't played it all year, or at least all season, that suggests that it's one they do like to avoid. And because MnM didn't play it yesterday, Rogue don't have anything recent in this current meta, in this current iteration of MnM to actually go by. So MnM can kind of sit back and be like, we don't have anything to go by, but we know we're comfortable on this map. Rogue are in the situation where it's, we don't have anything to go by, but are we that comfortable on this map? Now, obviously, we don't have all these insider knowledge about what they've been scrimming and what they've been working on, and it could be that this is a map that they have tried to make big strides in. They've got something up their sleeve for. It wasn't their map pick, but maybe they expected this one to come up. Either way, I think it does lean slightly more towards MnM.
So is that going in blind situation advantageous to MnM in this case? We all know Rogue are so good in best of one series because they get to prepare maps in advance. In a longer series, doesn't really apply in the same way. Does this give MnM a better advantage when you're going in blind, James?
I feel like for MnM, they're the kind of team that doesn't want to get caught up too much in their own heads about what the opponent team is going. Like, I feel like MnM is very much one of those teams where it's like, guys, we want to enter the server, we want to play our own game, we want Dats to pop off, we want Fonkers to pop off, we just want to play our own game, don't worry about what the other team is doing. So I think they're going to be confident going into Coastline that whatever Rogue throws at them, they'll be ready. They'll just be confident in their own Coastline ability. So, you know, credit to MnM for the confidence that I perceive they will have. But I do think that Rogue, if Rusty and Arkuth have done their research here and predicted that Coastline was going to be played, put it into Rogue scrim rotation, I actually would give them more of a chance here against MnM on Coastline than I would have given MnM back on Consulate.
And so who takes it, James? Very quickly, we're about to go into game. Very sorry about that. So?
MnM probably going to take it, but I think Rogue will give them a good fight.
Gio?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's see how it goes then. James, Gio, thank you so much for the introduction here. Coastline, it's time to go to sunny Ibiza. I know, would love to be there right now, trust me. But let's see how our casters handle it down there. Hap, Fluke, please enjoy.
Hello and welcome back. Everything notwithstanding from before, let's see how Coastline Lithro seems to break together. Map 2, and, well, it's a pretty aggressive gun-heavy one.
Yeah, and that doesn't give me much faith for MnM right here, if I have to be truly honest, by the way that Rogue has been playing. Rogue have been winning their gunfights, just outshining MnM so far on a map like Consulate. Consulate, of course, known as a aggressive map as well. And then we go to Coastline, the Danger Donut, as you named it.
Yeah, I like how other people have started calling it that as well.
I'm joining on that one.
Good.
I'm helping you rebrand this map into the Danger Donut.
Is that
Maybe when they rework it once, it's gonna be renamed to the Danger Donut instead of Coastline.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt. Please don't take it that far, game developers. But if you can work in a little donut in the kitchen, I'll know you're watching. Well, talking of watching, everyone who watched that previous map, you probably got a couple of questions about, hey, what's going to happen now? Because as we were discussing in the break, Rogue were winning pretty much a lot of their ones, if not all of their ones. It was a consistent level of aggression that was matched and meted occasionally by an MnM player pulling off something outstanding. Here, though, you're looking at Coastline. You're looking at a map that is so aggressive and can be so quick and to the punch that I'm really curious to see what MnM plans to do and plans to bring here.
Curious, well, actually not curious. It's nice to see that Rogue have decided to start out on the attack here as well. Of course, Coastline, the one map where you often do start on the attack. If you have to choose one map where you want to start on the attack, this is probably the one. And Rogue indeed doing so. Twice in a row, that means. The question now being, how are they going to be able to carry the momentum they just managed to build up throughout the previous map into the Danger Donut? How are they going to slice it? How are they going to design their attacks? And how are they making sure they cut MnM out of sight? Well, time will tell, and the time is going to start with, again, attack on the hands
Oryx. Of Rogue. The Oryx change, yeah, bringing themselves some manipulation and adaptation around this map, and that's what makes this donut so dang dangerous, is keeping a hold on people and keeping a watch on people around the two-story corridors that run all the way around the outside, with this obviously centralized core of being able to hop down. Certain operator cases, you can pop up some of these hatches. It's a tough one to sometimes keep a bit of a grip and a handle on. The clears and the clarity are pretty irritatingly sick. You'll watch any team kind of break down their defenses, and it's a lot of ankle holes and holds because you need to have a very stretched, encompassing play because it's both weirdly tight but also at the same time structurally linear. It is a circle. It's a circle of aggressive rooms with a very curious core, and that's the thing about the Oryx potential here, is you can open your rotations, sure, but you can truly manipulate the space, as we're seeing there, and really keep their roam clear guessing. I'd say it's more like a square, but I'll give you that one. The nice thing about the Oryx is, though, it does have that bailiff pistol on the secondary, which means that you do not have to open up all and every single hatch from the start of the round, as you can still do that later on. You can still, as you rotate out, open up a hatch, drop down or drop back up later as the drones pass by, and potentially coming for a flank. And I think that is exactly what Nave wants to do. He wants to make sure that he has an impact, and as he takes down one drone, he's going to be trying to fall back a bit more, I would assume so at least, but actually he's staying. Alright, he's going for the gunfight, he wants the danger, and he will be getting it soon. Yeah, he waited for the second drone. He knew Rogue would try a push from Hall of Fame as well, and he was kind of waiting for that push on intel. They've been playing it very well so far, Rogue. They've been consistent in how they go for a bit of clarity and then combine that with outstanding gun skill, and they were expecting it, expecting the second drone. You could see instantly he looked towards the head potential of a push, but when he realized it wasn't coming, thought, well, there's probably going to be something coming sooner rather than later. The door was opened, and there was the header rips, as Funkers lets rip and rips through. Very well with that SMG. First kill Dust coming in for MnM right here, who are on their defense, able to take down the Sophia. A great gun, great utility that you now no longer have to deal with in these last 90 seconds of the round. In the meantime, we see the presence of Nave inside of the bathroom, having the opportunity to jump up on any hatches while he sees fit. For now, worried about a potential member coming down on those white stairs, and as soon as that happens, he might be able to just jump up onto the hatch you just saw highlighted by medics into that bedroom, just to go up for a little bit of a flank. But as a C4 kill now comes out from users, Korzeka will go down as well, and with 60 seconds left, this is looking really good for MnM. They haven't quite been able to find their way truly in against MnM so far, but there's the start. Aces catches the legs of one and swings to the body of another. Goes deep across the middle and finds success at 3 versus 3 from a very great 2K. Now, they have themselves in Sunroom. They're looking across offices too. They have the potential of applying some pressure towards the default plant spot, and that's going to make things a little bit nicer as Dats goes down. Users creeps up but gets shut down by a third. And there is now only Nafe left on the board. Oryx, the person who started this off with some play around those hatches, is dancing a dangerous dance, and the Deadbird skin is great, but it doesn't quite catch success there. A 4K for Aces. Hey, this is my party.
remember how I said it's looking great now for MnM with the fact that they have those 2 kills in, and then Aces
And then he
showed
just,
up.
you know,
He just popped up 4.
just a 4K.
Just whipped them up like that. Surfed them up for himself and ate them too. And 1-0 is the scoreline. Rogue able to somehow still get the victory in that round. As Ace is able to get that beautiful, well, flick to flick, really. Able to pick up one upstairs, pick up the other one down up in the lobby. And that puts Rogue up in the lead right now. And we are going to Hookah Billiards. There is going to be a different side. We do not see the Oryx coming down this time. As I say, that 6-pick comes down into Frost. That's an interesting one. I want to see where those Frost mats are going to be putting down.
Attackers need to locate.
I guess that's always with the Frost. Obviously, it's something that always gets talked about, and probably will until it's a little bit more of a staple. Is why Frost is being bought, and why she's being kind of put on the table is the great changes: the shield, the shotgun, and the 1.5 on the 9mm, which is a laser in the right hands. It's just a really good synergized op right now, and the traps are a problem in that you don't truly expect people to fall into them. It happens, and it's hilarious, and they're outskilled, but you don't expect that to be the win. However, a team that's droning and a team that's playing with that much attention, it becomes something that they've got to clear. They've got to have to, either put a bit of utility to try and pop it before they can enter, or they have to look for a plan B, and it buys yourself 10 seconds, maybe 15 per mat, depending on the quality of the team, maybe less if they're already in a position, but either way, it buys you time. And on a map like this, where it can be very quick to the punch, well, it can be the difference between success or failure.
Can definitely be those frost mats as well, as we said before. If you have to go into a room in the last 10 seconds and there is still a frost mat down there, you basically guaranteed to lose, because you can either go for the gunfight and up into that frost mat, or you take down a frost mat and you will be taken out by the man who's holding crossfire. It is great utility that is a bit undervalued by some, might say. But yeah, we're seeing it playing out, and let's see if one will be caught or if Rogue is going to be able to deal with the mats, deal with the utility accordingly without too much hassle.
Steady droning, and a minute on and gone as they try and set themselves up for some pressure on Aqua and underneath in Sunrise. It seems like they've been able to get a little bit of control, but they're not quite happy with it. They're concerned about the pressure that might come around from Kitchen, and as you said, it's a very quick map if you want to be aggro. Kajeka's going to clear his way around to office as Rips tries to apply a bit of pinch across the top floor to make sure that they have a more comfortable grasp in and around the site itself, but for Corey it's a waiting game. And the same for Dats, who's keeping himself buried in 90 to make sure that if anyone swings close, well, they go the way of Fonkers swinging on the man who got the 4K last time round. That's 2 openers for the man who is Bonkers instead.
Aces really should have had that kill there. There was no business for Funkers to get that one, but he still managed to pick it up. And that leaves Rogue yet again with 1 man down. But this time it was the man who managed to turn around the whole faith of that last one. And that's a grenade coming in. And, well, Corey's still able to pick up the shot with the M14 instead. And right now that turns it back to a 4-on-4. Grenade and shield are spotted. The C4, however, being tossed out right there. And that is going to be turning it back into MnM's favor. But uses still on the cool vibe stairs, making sure that no one will be ascending them. As Kajeka is playing from below. He's playing from that sunrise bar. He would be the one that would potentially be putting pressure down very soon with that skeleton key and C8 combo. As Nave now sees the door being opened up, he goes aggressive and picks up that kill as well to Corey. This should be an MnM round.
Great positioning there from Nave to be able to get themselves in and lock down, and cool vibes. Well, they use us as cool vibes for now, but so is the balcony. Dats gets the end on Rips, and MnM get a very different story on the second round.
MnM able to this time make use of the advantage they were able to pick up at the start of the round. Get that entry kill onto Aces. Gotta make sure you're gonna turn this one into an actual round, because the last time around, round number 1, they managed to get 2, but somehow it all turned around. So MnM, they stayed a bit more calm and collected. We're able to just let Rogue come to them and with that pick up that round. A round that will be very important later on. I can tell you that already, as this should be a more of a close map than we've seen in map number 1. And as we see no 6 picks coming in, the frost will be flashed and they are running it confidently.
Attackers need to locate
So,
and defuse bombs.
1-1, but Obviously, it's one of those things where it was 1-1 last map, and then there's a lot of rounds in a row for Rogue. MnM try and put themselves at a different pace, but get more success. This is their place to play. They opted for against Rogue, and it kind of makes sense. A team like Rogue that can be so, at times, effortlessly structured, even with what Asus and Leon like to do, it is a good place to bring a little bit of that patented Yuken chaos. It's a good place to kind of play this. There was a couple of teams in the Yuken days.
10 seconds to go.
You wouldn't bring her. Hat's asleep. She's 5'6". They had Coastline on lock. And well, let's see if those ex-players and those comrades of
Attackers are moving to defuse
Red
the bomb.
can bring some success here, setting themselves with the Frost yet again upstairs in some slightly different positions, but reverse shield and a little bit of an eye towards. Let's see if they can keep themselves locked in.
It's a bit of a spawn peek coming out right there. Funker's running out late, but the men already in office waiting below Krzyzewska. And as we quickly see the control of Sunrise being taken by Rogue, so are the X-Carls to be deployed on that wall. Create extra lines of sight directly into that kitchen, potentially challenging that shield that Users is playing behind. Have to be careful though. Funker's in the sunroom will be picked up. That's the entry frag right now for Rogue. Krzyzewska to take a kill, but to fall himself as well. If Nave response from him from the top.
First time Fonkers hasn't got the entry, but is still involved, unfortunately for them. As he said, they lock themselves in with control at the top. Looking down Service 2 to try and get some control from Kobe. Warriors otherwise been pretty pitch perfect so far, outside of a couple of bad openers on the previous map. So is continuing the success of KB. There goes Users though. Leon shuts them down in the bar and makes sure that Sunrise is his. Hey, why not one more Nafe? Completely out and unawares as the battle starts to happen on Service. Corey gets caught by the Dats jump out as they swing their way back round. The pings are coming through and the calls too. They're trying to get towards the kitchen door to offer some balance. Leon all the way deep, but with the cover over the shoulder, they can't quite find one, and they find them instead. Yonka finds the trade, and there's the back and forth. A 2 versus 1. Dats gets it to a 1 versus 1 suddenly. We find ourselves with everything to play for, and a minute 26 left on the clock. Asus has all of the time in the world and all of the right shots. Dats goes down, but my, was it close.
I'm gonna say many mistakes here by Rogue. Twice the diffuser carrier dropped as they went for the peak instead of a safe plant. There was the opportunity to plant safely. They knew one was gonna be Service entrance. They probably were aware of the second one being in that area as well. As literally every single gun was aimed at that direction. They could go for a safe plant. They didn't do it, and it almost costed them. If it was any other player than Aces left on Rogue right there, that should have been an MnM round. But Aces just coming in, sweeping up that final kill and putting himself up onto 5 means that the second round now belongs to Rogue, who are staying in the lead. They don't want to be giving this one away. They want to make sure that they make this a quick one. As well, I talked to the coach. I'm going to keep on bringing this one back up. And
You know the coach?
yeah, you know, actually, you know why? Because I talked to Roosty at OGA where we were together. That is why I'm still in contact with him, actually. He's a great person. Also, always gives me insight when I need it about the situation in Rogue. So I really appreciate that from him. But what he was saying is we gotta stay confident, but we should not overestimate or underestimate our opponents, because that is the danger in a match like this. He said, like, it's really easy to feel too confident, overconfident, due to the fact that, well, MnM is coming off a losing streak. They just played a best of 5. We have extra information. We've had plenty of weeks to prepare for this. He said literally everything for this matchup is in our favor, but that is the danger. It might get to your head. It might be like, well, theoretically we shouldn't be able to lose this game. And that might cost you in the end. So it's key to Rogue that they keep on playing confident, but just not as confident as they just did, with losing the diffuser twice in one single round, with 2 positions where you could go for a safe plan.
Yeah, it's always the balance as well, obviously, with Arkuth, the other brain behind the team and the other coach, and they kind of balance strategy and performance between him and Roosty. It's looking at developing, and you've got a team here of some huge guns, some huge potential. They always had, but never quite had the finish that they needed. Season 2 aside, let's see if they can pull a better finish here. 2 versus 1 in terms of the rounds, and they're trying to make it a bigger difference as they were able to successfully before. The calls come through. but everyone's still standing as they make sure that they can lock down. The firefight's happening above. Dats is flashed, and the pressure's starting to come through against Projector. There is the first, though, and it's Fonkers that goes. The fight happens inside 92 as Nave gets one, but gets traded, and there's a double for Leon. Now then, as they find themselves with the control on the second store, Users is going to creep his way close to the server store and swing potentially against Corey if they get a little bit too antsy. Yonka waits in bated breath and hopes someone slips a little bit too wide above the hatch. But so far, it's fishing, and they're hoping they catch the bait.
Really have to see how useful that Logibomb was. Of course, no direct kill came in as soon as it was called, but it gave away the information to Aces and to Leon Gids about where those players were located in, and they managed to swoop up all 3 players upstairs quite quickly. As a grenade now gets tossed in, as Users that will have to fall back just a little bit more. A second one gets tossed out, will be dealing a little bit of damage, so they will be getting the audio cue. That one is indeed there, but still, Users able to pick up the kill to Corey, smokes it out quickly, making sure that Rips is not allowed to go for that refrag, and as Yonka is waiting in that main lobby up in that main door, it's going to be Leon gets to potentially try and challenge him right now as he's swinging around the corner. Should be able to pick him up, but as I say that, Yonka already rotated up to the top, and the question is, will Karjeka know, because he's still upstairs with the buck? Yes, he will. He picks up that kill, and it's only up to Users now, who gets picked up from behind as Leon gets to close it out. It's Rogue to win round number 4 and put themselves up to 3-1.
Kaiseka holding down on that flank was a very important pick there. I do wonder if they had one of the dead players on a potential drone to give them the intel, because he seemed to have the intense idea of where he was coming from and when. But one slip up on that firefight, and that would have been potentially a very different story on that round, with Vertical recapitalized by MnM. But as it stands, they're going to head to Blue and Sunrise. They're going to try a bit of an adaptation, a bit of something else. Hey, remember last map when I said, when the Rogue roster was put together and everyone was like, terrifying, Aces and Leon Gids on the same roster? Terrifying. Yeah, they're kind of doing that right now.
We didn't really see it until now, right? Like, it was always one of the two was active, but now you see Aces and Leon Gids both just fragging out of their mind. You see Leon Gids right now on 6, you see Aces also on 6. Those two are leading the charge. Of course, on the back of the support that Karzeka is giving, that Corey is giving. They were able to pick up these kills. They were able to open up, well, that top floor, open up the roamers, make sure they don't have to deal with them anymore, and just freely manage to pick away those HP points on the actual site. And as it is 3-1, Rogue is seeming to be wanting, well, to make this one a quick matchup.
So, MnM, this is your map, and at best you're looking at an even split on your defense here on Coast. Okay, Coast is a map that can play very well into attackers, it can play very well to aggressive teams, but at the same time you're against 2 very good aggressive players that are popping off, and it's always a little bit unfortunate. We've returned to Oryx. Wasn't as successful the first time round, but they're going to see if they can double down. That window break would have probably been heard, and you can see, yeah, there it is. Very close to a haircut from Karjeka, but is able to live and fight another day. They're well aware of the pressure and the play that's going on, and it seems like they're opting to not intensely push it the same way they did before. They're going over to the hookah side instead, getting their feet in on the boards while on the opposite side, and seeing if they can then push their way across. Karjeka's keeping himself as a bit of an anvil to hit against the hammer, but here comes the pinch and potential against Oryx.
And the Oryx really an operator that many might be wondering about. What is he doing here in pro play? We never really saw it work out. And, well, I mean, I gotta say, I myself have not seen great flanks happening with Oryx himself yet. Whilst that is what you kind of expect from his kit. But the thing is, the mobility is also what puts a scare into the opponents, right? It's the same as with Cav. You know it's on the board, you know you will have to deal with it, you're not going to be freely rotating around as you normally would, as in the meantime Funkus picks up the kill onto ACs. And that is going to be yet again an opening right here for MnM, but we've already seen him lose that one twice.
Angles from above and yellow pings are giving him a bit of an idea of where someone is, but for now, they're still there and still standing. Corey's trying to offer some aggression from the flat level of the other window, as Rips is the one above trying to rip through. There's a body in the middle of the room, and they get taken care of by Corey over in Overwatch. And now he swings it back towards the office side to see if he can get someone else. He's in a little bit of a tricky situation because, as we all know, Coastline is kind of hooked and ready for runouts and attention from multiple different windows. Actually generally all falling into the favor of Rogue right now. Calls are going out. Dats is well aware someone's at the top, but they're well aware he's at the bottom, and Leon isn't going to take it just yet. Misses the man as he swings upstairs, goes for a big rotation. They've got a minute on, and they've got a lot of damage done to site, so they're thinking, why not?
Yeah, why not go for it indeed? It's Nafe right here trying to go for the gunfight onto Rips. He's, well, not winning it, but not losing it either, as he right now takes a bit of damage as a stray shot goes through that wall. Tries to return the fire, but not able to hit anything yet. That's in the meantime came up to aid him as well. Picks up that kill, and we're back in a 3-on-3 situation with Junker still inside the office. Nave now jumps down, and it's going to be a 2-on-3 situation while the diffuser is going down. Do you see the quick sprint coming down? Will be allowing him to stop that diffuser from happening. And Dets get the final kill as well. It's going to be Corey that falls last and MnM to pick up the round when it seemed like Rogue were allowed to get back into it. That's the game to the help of Nafe and was able to turn it back into a 3-on-3 and a quick sprint of the Oryx there, making sure that that plant would not go down.
That was it. That was the call. We saw it happen. We saw Leon aware that someone was down by reception and aware that a fight could happen on the White Stairs, but then opted to pull back because the call came through. Oh, well, we know that someone's around here. They potentially assumed that with the 2 kills onto site that maybe they'll pull back and maybe they'll have already moved off. It's one of those situations where we don't know the calls that went on in the headspace. They had a minute on. They had the flanks held for a firefight. Not to say they would win or lose them, but they had guns there, and it was that moment of pulling back, that moment of going, okay, well, maybe they're over here now, so let's try and actually push onto site and get the diffuser down. Led to the death of Kajeka. Led to some great response there from MnM, the 2 remaining players especially, to be able to pull themselves through and round. And, well, it kind of shows the moment that sometimes those mid-round rotations, those adaptations, they can get a little bit away from you.
They can indeed, and, well, I'm just happy actually. I'm gonna interrupt that one by saying that we saw some use coming out of the Oryx. We haven't seen him jump up the hatches too much yet, but we did see. I'm not sure exactly how close it actually was in the timer, but we did see the dash being used to quickly get into a position where you can cancel out that plant. I'll see you back soon when we catch up on the actual stream. I'm using that as like a little bit of a feedback loop as my own real-time replay system. Yeah, just to double check on these little things, you know, these little things you miss so much when you're casting, actually, right?
Oh yeah, I saw this discussion the other day from a couple of casters on Twitter. A couple of the NA guys were like, "Oh, what's people who've worked more games than hard." Everyone was just like R6. There's so much going on.
It's Rainbow Six. Everything happens at the same time, and you can only see one perspective. It's like, what's happening?
Well, we'll do our best to paint the picture, and so far it's coming out as a little bit of a blurry watercolor, as it seems to be back and 4-3-2 here on Coast, and MnM are trying to make sure that they can pull in an even half, as they're a little bit on the back foot on their defense on their map. Hitting and trying to pre-fire all of those frost mats, as I said, they're a bit of utility that you got to take care of, and you have to pay attention to them. It buys a little bit of time, but it's still buying yourself time. The main reason, though, you've got them is the shield, is that gun, is that shotgun. Here comes the pressure towards Projector, and Nafe pulls back, the shield goes down. They have bullet holes, they have angle, and they have pre-fire, but they don't have success as of yet. Calls have been consistently coming against the MnM defense. With all the structural damage that's coming through, it seems like they're just opting not to take the fight.
Definitely looks like it as the C4 gets tossed in and immediately detonated. Not a single point of damage will be done. I actually thought that that's got an impact grenade right there to Zofia as one was being shot in, just straight up on the body, but it did a little damage. So it might not have been a direct hit, but definitely took some damage from that one. But we're only 90 seconds left in this round, even less, 80 seconds left, and well, Rogue are going for that full top take. They're making sure they have all the control they need. Probably will be locking down those 2 staircases soon, hoping that no one can rotate back in. And then you're looking on the scoreboard and you're looking on the overlay and you see that there's no more C4s left, just a double impact from Nave, who is playing from below, so he's going to be able to do some damage to a potential planter, and thus decides to open up the default plant spot on the A-bomb side, and that might be what could be round winning later on.
Yeah, they have a great idea on what the pressure's coming through. Leon's trying to burn as much as possible to see if there is anything to be caught around the side and allow those destructive capabilities over the shoulder and over the corner. Corey still has both frag grenades in pocket and has the ability to apply some pressure, but the call comes out first. They're looking to that default plant spot, but they're looking to do it against a fully stacked team and only 30 seconds left. There goes the first piece, a trade that comes out almost instantly with a body dropped inside and behind. Kajeka is looking to try and apply some pressure onto users with a little bit more of a flat firefight, but we've also got Jaeger on the far end. Dats keeping themselves in a very strict line here. Here comes the pressure on the man in the middle. There goes the pressure on the man on the side, and it's a 3 versus 3 now as Nath goes down 2. Corey's going to swing his way around up. Cool Vibes gets caught with the first grenade, 7 seconds, but the diffuser needs to try and find its way in and stick itself down. There it goes with Leon, and there goes the pressure around Vases. The double Cool Vibes isn't so cool now. It's only Leon, though, who's not quite cool enough. Sticks it, but not all the way. MnM, they find themselves in on even level.
Yeah, they managed to bring it back right there, and it almost looked like they were able to pick it up because they managed to kill the smoke. They managed to get the guy below, but it wasn't quite enough. But let's quickly go to a quick ad break before we're back for the second half.
And we're back. What did you do in that break?
We're back. I grabbed a little sip of my water, you
Wow.
know, staying hydrated. Everybody, make sure you keep drinking as well. It's really important.
Thank you, Hap. You're doing
At your service.
great work. 3-3. MnM, it's your map and you're on an even half and you're heading your attacks onto Coast. And that's not the worst story. There's a lot of maps out there where if you're on this balance and you're heading your attacks, it's a little bit of a moment. But with the meta changes, with the difference in how obviously gadgets like what Aces is stacking inside the default spot there on the close corner, with how this map likes to play in with these bans, MnM are in a good shout now.
All 3 ADSs on there. And there is a Twitch drone. This drone could be coming in really MVP if he manages to set those out. Like, the idea here is, of course, to play close, maybe even with a shield that Corey has available to him. It was done before as well. It basically makes it impossible to get through. And in the system we had before with Jaeger, it was 2 charges and the ADS was gone. However, now all these active defense systems will be recharging after 10 seconds, which means that if you have 3, you need to toss in 4 projectiles within 10 seconds if you want to get rid of that shield, and that might be an issue if they don't drone that out, if they do not get the information on that. And if you fail to do so, you basically wasted 2 or 3 pieces of your utility, and you have to use another 3 or 4 before you can get that shield. So the Twitch drone is playing a big role right here. She can spot it out, she can take out these ADSs if they're quick enough. The question, however, is, will the drone succeed?
Well, he's able to get a bit of a mute charge and able to get some eyes in across and outside. Cool Vibes and see if they can get some control on the stairs. Leon's playing on the opposite side towards White, and Corey's playing through the heart and the soul of User. Swung through onto the doorway. Was that, or is that above? Where's the body? It was above.
Yeah, it's above.
Well, that's the way to play. Dropped on the doorway of Hookah before they could even really get anywhere, and Usus is a little bit as lost as our observer there was for a second.
There. He had no clue. He had no clue. He just got shotgun from below, got his feet and ankles taken out underneath him, and now he had to sit on the bench for the next 90 seconds, being on the chems, giving out call-outs to his team, not allowed to make these crazy plays that he was able to, well, pull off before. And in a round like this one, you really want to be on the field. You don't want to be on the bench.
Well, now as they try and dig themselves in towards that spot we talked about before, it's going to come down to what we saw Fonkers just roll out there. This Twitch drone could be the difference, especially if Corey doesn't quite catch it. There's a lot of attention and a lot of burning coming through. They're aware, and it's not really a spot that you can juggle those ADSs. You just try and dig yourself in and hold on for as long as you can. They're concerned about the potential of someone wanting to swing round, and that makes sense. It's a lot of fear and a lot of possibility, but look at this. They're still being burnt, and so are the bodies. Aces with a jump out, but Fonkers with a response. Takes care of one, but not for losing. That's on that Ash. Those charges could have been very useful pushing onto this, but instead it's going to fall down to Fonkers, caught by the smoke and pushed back, and Corey, well, he's back in his house. Back dug in, those ADSs are back working, and this is, again, only 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left indeed, and only 3 people left on the side of MnM. They're trying to get some access from the office right now as Funkus is in the final shock drone. Maybe to get some information about the blue bar, because that seems to be the plan of approach right now, with Funkus still outside with the F2. Not quite sure if that's the weapon you want to be using if you want to go for that flank watch, but I mean, Funkus does go bunkers every now and then, so what else is new right here is Kozeka is waiting in the corner, but he gets spotted out. Liam gets, however, able to pick up on that kill. Another one will be falling into the hands of MnM. It's a 2-on-2 situation right now. The C4 will come out and drop that diffuser. It's a 1-on-1, but the time runs out. And Rogue able to win round number 7 with the last member just jumping back in from that window, I believe. Oh no, that was the Twitch actually just jumping in right there. Rogue able to win this one just narrowly though, because MnM almost able to bring it back as soon as they got that kill onto Kozeka, just waiting in the corner.
You could kind of see it in how the round played out. Is one of the things I talked about what Rogue were doing very well in Consulate was their plan B. Their opt for, let's try something else and we'll do it quite quick. MnM, yeah, there was a lot that they had to do before that they could really put pressure onto Corey Duggan in the corner. They did it once and it didn't work, and then they opted for their plan B, and it didn't really leave them much time. They almost pulled it off by great gun skill, by great read, and by great reactions. It was the drop and the trade and the push and the pressure that they could apply. The C4 was the make or break there, because it left the diffuser cold and let the last man just kind of go, I'm getting out of here, I'm away, I'm off. And it led to Rogue's win. But those little moments from MnM, you know, if it's a little bit of a story that they'll talk about later potentially, it's those mistakes, regardless of how this goes, or those moments where they know that they can play tighter, they know that they can play faster, and I fully expect us to see that from them. But 4-3, Rogue have found themselves back into the lead. Oh, a narrow lead it is. Let's see if they can double down, or if MnM can keep themselves in this.
The question is Rogue going to be able to extend their lead right now, or is MnM, as you say, allowed to get back in? Something they have to stop doing though is gaining the lead and then tossing it away. They didn't do it the previous round, but it is something we have seen them do quite often on the attack, on the defense, I have to say. And I didn't quite mean it by getting Junker almost taken out. Instead, no, I just mean take the lead and keep it as well for the remainder of the round.
Attention is paid to those stairs pretty aptly, as they know there's a body playing around there. Aces, as you said, on the Oryx. I'm curious to see if we get a little bit more action and reaction from the man who did just burst through a wall, but where it left them, who knows? This is MnM going for another slow and steady clear and making sure that everything's as clean as possible before they enter and try and lock down. Funkus on Overwatch is unfortunately watching no longer. Leon pops the head, the nice shot in chat, and fair enough, it very much was a great reactive shot there.
Was a very good shot coming down right there. It's like that satisfying feeling when, for example, you're on Kafe and you're challenging the skylight.
Oh yeah.
Able to just top and hit that, you know, little pixel on the top of the head right there. Able to pick up that kill. And Leon Gates not seeming to stop there. Going aggressive right now on the Lambo door, hoping to pick up yet another kill. Junker playing right there. Gives away the shoulder peek. Gives away his head as well. And that puts us back into a 4v4 situation. MnM able to bring it back to even numbers for these last 90 seconds as they're only opening up right now from above.
Went for Gloria and unfortunately didn't quite find it, but had already got rid of Twitch and had already got rid of Funkus. Big force. MnM now a minute 20 on, and they're starting to apply the pressure down towards service. There is still a huge amount of utility and potential here in the hands of Rogue, though, and they're more than aware of the motions and reactions that are being made. Corey went for a potentially lucky swing with a shotgun. There's a C4 prepped and loaded and ready to blow, but no, in the slightly wrong position. What you should put your eyes to, though, is Cool Vibe stairs. There is a rotation coming up, I believe, by Aces to try and strike at the back here and apply some pressure behind them as they're locked in. Yes, it is, and yes, there it is. Aces swung his way up Cool Vibes and swung his way through, but the diffuser is going down inside service.
Yeah, they're going to go and get that plan down. Corey, though, will be getting the... Oh, there it is! Just in time. The smoke canister just got the kill down. And it's only up to users now. The diffuser is down cold on the ground, and he's all the way up top in the penthouse. Needs to jump down to make sure and get that kill. But there's Aces. We'll be able to pick him up. And that is the smoke canister just coming in clutch right there. And that is why you need those smokes in those last 30, 40 seconds of the round. Because that is when the red is most effective. That is when the plan needs to be pushed. That is when you find someone stationary like that. And that is how you win these rounds.
5-3. The gap slightly wider, but it's still close. It's still these very, very tight moments, these very, very like tight little slivers and decisions and split seconds of being in the smoke too long, of making those rotates a little bit too late, and it's still very much playable for MnM right now. They can dig themselves back into this game. The Molotovs, they're still marshmallowy. That's the team name. Did you know that? You probably know that.
Yeah, it's marshmallows. Or is it Molotovs and marshmallows? I think it was Molotovs and marshmallows, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm saying it with confidence, but now that I'm questioning
it is actually. And when we were at the Benelux studio, we got a bunch of marshmallow tossed at us, and
Really?
I think that's better than the Molotovs.
Was it that they're actually playing, or like they just did a little bit of
They
like
were
a
actually
drive-by
playing.
with
No. We were
marshmallows?
playing. They were
them at
playing, and
Benelux.
we were casting them actually. And our producer tossed marshmallows at us during that.
That's nice.
And again, I'm saying that's better than actual Molotovs. So I was happy he chose
I mean,
for the more peaceful option.
if it was your producer, the only reason they did that with marshmallows is so it didn't destroy his equipment.
Quite likely true.
Attackers are moving out.
I have to say, like, yeah, you don't want to burn your own equipment when you're trying to make a gag. It's not good.
Hey, 5-3. 2 minutes 50 on the board, and MnM, this is your map. You gotta try and pull something back before you find yourself on map point. Rogue, otherwise, still pretty good. They're able to keep themselves going and keep themselves kind of a bit on top of the curve here, and I'm still gonna point fingers towards Asus and Leon. Two players that keep living up to two things, two very important things. The first being the expectations of Rogue and what we expected these two phenomenal gunners to be able to pull together, and Coastline. And I guess that was one of those kind of head-scratch moments of you're bringing very dangerous people to a very dangerous map, and so far I guess the risk was, are they having an on-day or an off-day? It's an on-day so far. As Asus looks towards Lamborghini, there is unfortunately a man in the bathroom. It's Dats, takes care of one. Instantly looks towards the pressure on kitchen door.
Was able to waste 1 minute, but that's about it. He wanted to go aggressive and try and take out the man on Lamborghini door, but instead lost his own life. The next one seems to be Rips. He is behind that sunrise bar, getting a bunch of pressure down now as drones are starting to push him out. There you have it, the Twitch drone. He's given a little bit of a zap. No longer 10 damage, of course, for a long time right now, but just one. But it's still going to be enough to draw the attention away from what he was doing prior to that. And there you have it. There come the first gunshots. It's flashbangs coming in as well. Corey goes off the angle at the moment he gets peeked. And with 90 seconds left on the clock, that might mean Rips will go down, but he doesn't go down without a fight. Picks up one kill to start off with. Will be taken down from the side, however, straight after. But he dropped that diffuser and does waste some time.
Well, he's able to pop his way around and pop ahead there, and with a minute 15 left, MnM are in the best position they've generally been on any of their attacks so far. Loads of time, loads of bodies already down. They've obviously lost to Barna, but hard destruction isn't the biggest make or break, especially on this site. Now it's just a matter of seeing if they can apply some pressure towards Leon. Trying to get themselves dug in. Just opening up the window and seeing if he can put pressure towards the top of Cool Vibes too, but with a man lying down there, well, this is their point of ingress. They might read an Astro, but they don't read how to stop Leon. Oh wait, they do, and it's Usus. Swings his way around onto the hookah doorway and is able to get revenge for the death of Yonka. Now though, they still have to dig themselves in, and they're well aware that there is a body playing around Cool Vibes. Kajeka is on the Aqua side too. It's a big spread out hold here from the two remaining members, but they're not quite sure where the push is coming from yet. As soon as they do, and as soon as they can set themselves up with rising angles, that's going to be the different story. Dats is creeping up Cool Vibes and waiting to try and drop some vibes of his own. Corey drops User, swings around onto Hookah. Pre-fires the man that's coming up the staircase, hits the second but doesn't quite find it. There's the trade. There is almost Karzeka getting some revenge. They're planting the diffuser now to 2 versus 1. Has to get the loose gunner but can't quite find it. C4 in pocket, C4 ripped, C4 thrown, C4 blown, but it's missed. There though is not missed shots. The Ash goes down. 2 seconds, 1 second, just has to wait, just has to count, and it is Rogues.
Second time it runs out, and what a clutch to do it with. Able to get that down, the also important down onto the Ash, able to get that kill eventually, and then you just dance and play Ring Around the Rosie, making sure that you're both not catching each other, both not going into that gunfight, which allows you to stall those final few seconds, which allows you to get up to that match point, which they currently find themselves at. Rogue able to potentially reach a 2-0 point in this series quite early on, not giving MnM a single opportunity to try and fight back. It is map point yet again, And we're going to the blue and sunrise bar to potentially see this go to map 3 right now.
6-3. MnM on your own map, and it's still to the wire. It's still so close towards being something that you can make something out of this. If you're hitting that third map with 2 maps gone, including your own, you're looking at Club. Yeah, it's familiar territory, but as Rogue have decided it's going to be their territory for today. It's not going to be an easy fight. And Club, as they said on Twitter, was where they made a lot of mistakes that led to them falling against Kavana the other day. Heads on, heads in. We're back a couple of rounds now. Rogue, otherwise, it's not the cleanest that we've seen them play by any means. We all saw them in Phase 1, and we saw what they could do, and it's, in a lot of ways, not the most aggressive. I know I've harped on about how good and aggressive it's been, but we've seen them be even more than this. If you can't believe it, hey, go watch Phase 1. But it is so much better than where they were before. They've had that time to get themselves back together as a team. They've had a bit of breathing room and a bit of focus for them to start to rebuild that rogue, terrifying war banner that they flung so fervently and well. And they're saying, wait a second, we're not done yet.
Well, they were talking about the fact how they have changed as a team. The roles have changed a little bit. They are focusing more towards the actual objective, they said, rather than just go in and kill. And as I said, their focus does exactly that. Gets the kill down onto Leon Gitz. That is going to be that Frost. On a second one to come in as well as Junker takes down Aces. That is going to be the 2 top fraggers of Rogue taken out quite early on. And that is given opportunities here to MnM for this blue bar hold. Another one falls and another one bites the dust. It's Kurzeka now to be the last one standing. Needs to go for an ace clutch if he wants to end the map right here, right now.
Well, Kurzeka had to do a clutch last time round, but he's shooting at his own team's dead bodies. They seem to be coming from every which way, and, well, the way it goes is Funkers opened it and closed it from a Lamborghini doorway. And that's an MnM round, and that's an MnM that I kind of expected. But I guess it's the question of, is it a little too late?
It's the MnM we would hope to see right now, but indeed, as you said, is it too late? Because it's 6-4 right now, and if you're only just starting to get fired up with these kind of rounds, it might be too late, because Rogue only needs 1 at this point, and in the next 2, and they will be going up to the 3rd map. They will be going up in a 2-0 lead in a series that is career-changing, career-altering, because Rogue are fighting for survival, MnM is fighting for promotion. Many might say, like, MnM should be able to have it due to the state Rogue was in during Phase 2, but people seem to forget there's a lot of time that has passed since then. There's a lot of time that Rogue have been able to improve on themselves, to iron out the mistakes that were happening, to fix the mental issues that might have been there, and to set themselves up for a banger of a relegation, to set themselves up to go in here, potentially pick it up 2-0. What if they just win these relegation matches with 3-0? It shows to the world that they were never to be relegated anyway. It was just a slip up. It was just a negative downward spiral that they managed to climb out of. Because that is what they're trying to prove right now.
6-4 Rogue. Close to, well, getting yourself back to your territory, your turf. And getting yourself back locked into top echelon tier 1. Let's see if they can keep themselves going and moving throughout this map so far. MnM took a flawless, it was a very clean and precise attack where they barely even had to get into the building to shut it down. Slightly different aspects and explosions here coming from Rogue. Maybe they were just punished for being a bit overzealous. There's a punishment there. The last man standing's the first man gone this time round. Kurzeka went from a clutch to a potential to, unfortunately, nothing this round. Leon is in offices and has the potential to swing round. Is going to dig himself up, actually, and pull to the blue bar window and see if he can catch someone paying a little bit less attention. Slips off, but doesn't get caught or punished as of yet. No one's fervently paying attention. MnM still playing this great game now where they're pinching and pincering and playing across the entirety of the map space.
I don't know if I have to give credit to Rogue for the boldness of their plays right now in this situation, or I would have to scold them for it. Because are you going to be going for spawn peaks in such an important round that could be career-changing? I mean, it's kind of their playstyle, so you would expect them to go aggressive, to bring the aggression to your team, but you kind of don't want to be giving away these free kills in the start. And Kurzeka dying after you just got a flawless round is not going to be very helpful. You want to be a bit more careful than that, but if you go too careful, then you're no longer rogue as well. So, like, it's a true dilemma for me whether I should be like, good for them trying, or like, why are you even attempting?
Well, MnM, they're continuing with their plan and ploy either way. Corey is not going to take the risky shotgun pop that he did before, one successful, one middling, and, well, not again, as Usus digs his way through the ground and tries to open up all the angles they can. Nath drive-bys the window to make sure nobody hits them on service, and then realizes may as well just take the rest of it out. There wasn't a quick response because where's Rogue? Not on site. There's only really one player, and the rest have set themselves up in a net around the sides to see if they can catch anybody and apply some pressure from opposite angles. They're prepped for the potential of a rotation, and they're prepped and ready if they need to hit doors too. But it's down to MnM to read this and realize where they can get in and what they can dig safely. If they want to try and sneak a plant onto service against the smoke, they've also got to pay attention to the possibility of a rotation from Leon here in reception.
I think this site really leans and lends itself to potential roaming due to the fact that basically everything can be destroyed from above, and you really don't want to be picked up or spotted whilst these holes are being created from above. You don't want to die to that. So the less people on site, sometimes the better, because the more roaming you have, the less inclined the attackers are to just take the site, because if you don't have bathroom control, that plant will just be stopped, as it's actually happening right now. Nave almost having it down, just 2 seconds left in the clock, and no one is there to try and deny it as Leon goes aggressive, able to pick up that kill. However, Junker immediately responds to it. Another kill will be attempted, but will not be gained, and it's just up to Aces right now, as he's the last man standing for Rogue to try and make sure that it ends right here, but it will not happen. It's Stats to get that kill. It's MnM to bring it up to 6-5, and overtime is on the way. They can smell it. They're going for it.
Almost 2 flawlesses in a row as well. It was only one body dropped as Funker's on the doorway of Lamborghini, but at this point, and at that point, potentially too little, too late. I know we said it was the potential of MnM last time, but that's one more round, and they're only 1 round away from being able to pull this to OT. Taking this map is a very big mental difference between these two teams, and one of the things and one of the features and problems with Rogue was when they were falling to bits, it was a little bit apparent. They didn't have that confidence, didn't have that swagger that you expect from a super team rolling into a party on Coastline or any other such map, and I guess locking this out now and letting it slip through your fingers, that's a heck of a team talk you're going to have between this map and the next. Now, one last swing potentially here, or our first OT of this showdown. Let's find out as Rogue dig themselves in on Blue and Sunrise.
See a similar kind of setup being put up. Multiple ADSs most likely on that wall. Just one left in the pockets of Aces right now, which he will be deciding to place elsewhere. 2 should be enough, by the way, that they recharge. The last round they were here, the issue was not by too many projectiles flying in. Rather, there was almost no projectiles flying in right there. So they're removing one to put down elsewhere, while still having the integrity on that part of that side. And well, there's 5 seconds left in the prep phase. Will we see more spawn peaks coming in? Because so far, MnM have been able to shut down whatever Rogue has been bringing to them in the early round twice in a row right now, and you don't want to have that happen again. This is a really important round, as Rogue, you do not want to go to OT, because that is where you might lose it. Whilst MnM, they are feeling it, they are smelling it, they want to grab it, it is within reach. They just need to get these final last 5 kills in.
Pressure starts to mount against Lamborghini doorway now as Leon's buried in. Aces is looking to apply some against Service too. Obviously, this is a bit of a wider hold here, and they're going with that duo aggression. They're making sure that the other is in a position to try and get some revenge if one of them falls. Aces dances and peppers bullets through a doorway to make sure nobody can even get close, but the first bit of pressure is coming to a very disorientated Leon. He's still holding his angle true, but it's quite hard to see from range with a bit of a blur. There's a pop on a wall, and there's a swing against some pellets, and there's a swing against the doorway, and there's a swing against Dats. Lamborghini doorway is the first victim to fall. And now this push is starting to hit a little bit of a dead spot. Oh no, wait, hey, there's Usus, there's a frag grenade, and now there's only Aces and Service left.
Yeah, Aces now knows he needs to fall back as well, and will be doing so, getting back further and further in that kitchen, potentially going for a roam to the top floor right now, as MnM are aware of the fact that Service and kitchen should be safe, should be available to them to take. And there you have it. Aces indeed above. You have one in office, you have one on the Cool Vibe stairs, and one actually playing on the couch on the B bomb side, on the default plant spot that you often see players, attackers hide behind in these last final seconds. It's Nave to take that gunfight. He's going to be trying to take the challenge. The question is, will Corey take it onto him as well, or will it just stay put behind that shield? Because there are these flashbangs that will be tossed in right now, and those will waste those two ADSs that are there, and the third one will confirm there's nothing left. The grenade will be cooked and will be tossed in, but will it be back in time? No, but no damage was done, however, to Corey. Smoke canister will be used to quickly reply, and Aces picks up a kill onto Junker as well, as maybe, was it another frag grenade? No, there's none left, so they need to go for an actual peek right now. There's no other option to get Corey out of that place.
He popped 2 canisters, one either side to keep himself locked in, and then he swings against users 2. Unbelievable! Kill there as he takes the body on split and makes sure he keeps an eye on the opposite side. That is 2 to fall now for MnM, and only 2 left to try and make sure they don't fall on this map. Fonkers finds 1, and Corey gets dropped in the default spot. They're able to, for the first time, apply some pressure and presence inside. Digs down and goes through. The C4 missed yet again, unfortunately. But they're popping over either side of the bar. There's a man on the left, and it's not quite comfortable and not quite safe. Rips is close, and they're even closer. Karsheka finds Nate. There's the response from Fonkers. 2 more to get.
Oh no, Fonkers!
All lined up. Collateral for Fonkers.
He cleans them up right here, picks up one, spots the other one rotating, and accidentally gets the other one that was just hiding behind the couch right there. We are in overtime right now. Rogue have tossed it all away. They had the round, and because of the over-rotation that came through, Fonkers was able to line them up. He was able to pick up that round, and he's able to push MnM up to overtime. It is still all to play for here, and that one really must hurt for Rogue.
I heard it. I heard a saying. that certain Finn was bonkers.
Was it Fonkers goes bonkers? Because he definitely did right there.
Oh, it's Fonkers goes bonkers. 6-6, map 2. MnM. Oh, they're not quite done with you, Rogue. A hell of a clutch is kind of a familiar story with that hell of a player. It goes by the name of Fonkers. What a moment, what a clutch. But we're not over yet. MnM, you're back on your attack. You have a bit of momentum. You've had 3 rounds in a row. 1 flawless and 1 almost over. What can you lock it down now? Rogue, things have slipped a little bit. You had the lead and had the chance to lock it out there. And you still have the potential to lock this map out. It's in. It's round. What can you do?
So well played by Corey. Throughout the entire round, able to pick up that kill, just quickly deny any push to come down with that double smoke to come in, but Fonkers able to just line up the shot from that window, which he later jumped into and picked up 3 more kills. The man had a quad in that round. Single-handedly keeping MnM alive right now. Single-handedly keeping them in. And that gives them another potential 3 rounds to prove that Coastline is indeed their map pick. It is their map pick, and they don't want to lose it, and they were almost about to lose it until Fonkers went bonkers.
6-6. MnM, you're applying some pace and some pressure upstairs. You're going for a much clearer and cleaner take here. They've opted to go for the same side, and it makes sense because if it wasn't for an outstanding clutch, it would have been yours, Rogue. Fonkers putting the pressure on the opposite side as White Stairs becomes a little bit of a prowling ground for Leon, looking to potentially keep an eye and a beat on anyone that might come down this way. But for now, MnM, they're happy with their verticality. They're happy to keep some control here, and they're happy to make sure Cool Vibes is watched by Yonka. They have, obviously, the 2 guns on Rogue, still in the kitchen and still in reception. They're just not going to play against it this time. They're instead going to focus all of their attention here, and I guess it's down to Rogue to try and see when they feel they need to respond.
The thing is, again, on Rogue, they have a very wide hold on the bottom floor. They have them literally everywhere. We see one in the kitchen. We see one in the office. Most likely inside of the lobby as well. And that means that basically the entire bottom floor is under Rogue control. Especially with one right there in office, one right underneath the Cool Vibe stairs. Able to try and challenge whoever brings the fight to them. That means MnM really needs to be starting to working on getting some picks, because just going onto a straight execute 5v5 like this, I mean, it might work because you theoretically only need to pick up one player who is playing on that site and you could be going for the plant, but it is Corey, and Corey already dodged one of those frag grenades. He lost his shield, but he still has his smoke canisters to try and deny as much time as he possibly can, and a second grenade will actually get the down right there. The Twitch drone slowly trying to execute him right there, but of course with the only one damage, will be taking 30 shots to do so. Right now an opening will be created. Surely the plans will be coming down from Nave soon, and the question is, what can Rogue bring to make sure that doesn't happen? Because there's a lot of vertical control right now from the likes of MnM. Nave goes on that plant. Aces, however, picks up the first kill onto Funkers, and that is going to be turning things into a bit of a dangerous situation, but it seems like the plant actually goes down.
Second story of Nave just going in and sticking a plant down, and it was a big clutch on Consulate, and let's see if it can pull themselves around here. Corey's still down and out and waiting on the window, but there's Rogue bringing it back to a technical 3 versus 3 swings. Upstairs, Aces swings and a miss. Can't quite get them out of the close corners, but Leon's there to get one, but Dax is there to get Leon. The revenge has come through. It's now Kajeka versus these two bodies. Knows that they have to play against that vertical side and knows that it was a bit of a big slip up. Is able to get through and get Corey and get the pickup, but look at that timer at the top center of your screen. They have seconds to make this work, and they have no idea really where the other man is. Dap hops down. Dap swings in. The flashes come through. There's the catch on the man. They're gonna get it. There it is. No! MnM by the skin of their teeth pull themselves through that round.
They flashed themselves in there as well. I really like the smoke canisters being used to try and hide that defuse that was going on. But unfortunately, you saw the rotation coming through, got caught off. That turned it into a 1v1 with the last man defusing. Lost them that round, and that means MnM right now is on that map point. They're able to bring it to a 1-1 if they manage to pick up that next round, or any of the next two. And Rogue are seeing their 6-3 slowly slip away from them, as it's right now 6-7 for MnM. After a thrown away round in round number 12, their 1v3 clutch was made by Funkers. He's going to be putting them in a very, very strange position right now. That will feel very rough on them, and might be something that MnM needs to carry home momentum for the third map.
I can only imagine what the comms were like when they were team flashed there. I can only, because that timer was close to the defuse.
It was way too close. I really thought he would have it, especially after that team flash that came down.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, there's no way. There's no way he's going to be able to get that kill. But luckily, these players, they know the maps inside out. They can walk them blindly, and that's exactly what happened there. They walked in, they just pre-fired the spot where the diffuser would be. Managed to get the kill because of that. Brings us in that 6-7 we are in right now. MnM able to bring it back. 4 rounds in a row so far. Rogue yet to respond. They almost were able to respond. They were almost able to pick up that map, but it seems to be slipping away ever so slightly now. And if they don't respond now, if they don't pick up the kills, if they don't pick up the round now, it is going to be 1-1 in maps. And that is not something they want. That's not something they would have expected after it was 6-3.
Well, Rogue, you're on the back foot for the first time, ever, out of the showdown that we've seen between you and MnM today. This is the first time they've been at a round deficit, being able to get the opener both times, and otherwise hitting themselves only. Even so, let's see what Rogue can do when they're on this little bit of a back foot. As I said, one of the mental game questions was raised of them in the phase 2, but it was brought up by the changes that happened to them very suddenly before the playday. So it's, I guess now the technical term is what happens when they've had time to prep for this sort of situation, and when they've set themselves up. MnM, they've dug in, they've pulled themselves back. They said it was possible and plausible, and they're making sure that everybody believes it, because they know how important it is to keep a handle on their map pick. They do not want to be dicing with death every single time throughout the rest of a potential best of 5. Corey's keeping an angle and an overwatch, and Yonker is the first to try and put some pressure onto it, but suffers against the Ash, who's just hanging out and waiting for the pressure to come back through. Leon starts popping open walls and making Yonker's hold even more dangerous. Has to move on, but it's actually the frag grenade and then Leon that are able to get the opener 2 there. Rogue 2 apiece. Yonker swings down the stairs, catches the buck and takes care of 1, but in a 4 versus 2, it's still a difficult situation. Long arm smokes over the top. Leon over the top 2. Funkers over Aces in a 3 versus 1. The man finds himself in the clutch situation yet again, but doesn't write the story the same way. Rogue, max OT,
MaxOT it is, and it was already looking good for Rogue in this round when Funkus started deploying the smoke canisters with 1 minute 40 left on that clock. Because that is the moment when you realize, alright, so if we manage to chip away these last pieces of denial, that means that we're going to be able to get the plan down. Nonetheless, and maybe gave them even confidence to continue, because we saw a lot of well, big plays coming through. People just jumping over the breaches, jumping up onto the stairs, walking in, swinging it. And we all saw the kills happening in Rogue's way. That puts us into the max OT right now. C13, I believe, on Leon, 15 on ACs, or the other way around. I'm not quite sure anymore. 2 big players right there on Rogue. Was Funkus himself is going absolutely nuts on the likes of MnM together with Junker and Dats.
Big numbers all the way across the board, and I think that's Coastline for me. It really lets these players just let loose and get aggro against each other, and you can see it in the numbers and see it in the scoreboards, and I kind of hope we see scoreboards like this all throughout this showdown. It's satisfying when players of this caliber and this level of aggression can let themselves loose and just go against ones to give them a little bit of an even step. But someone has to win this map, and it's going to come down to whoever can take this round. Who will grab a little bit of that momentum first? MnM, they've been able to pull stuff by the skin of their teeth and pull stuff with a bit more presence. Let's see what they opt for this time round, because Zeka and Corey, I think, are both attempting picks there to see if they can get someone on Ruins, but neither finds either as they set themselves back in to hold down.
Again, bringing the aggression in one of these important rounds, something they seem to be doing a lot. It costed them maybe 2 rounds earlier on, the 6-3 match point and the 6-4 match point that was, which eventually brought us into the 6-5, which they should have won. But, well, we're in max OT right now, so the story should be clear behind what happened there. And that gives us with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this one matchup, in this one map. There's just limited time. It's sticking out. There is not going to be a single round after this one. There's no way that these rounds tie, because in case of a trade, the defenders always win unless the diffuser is down. And thus, Rogue are having the advantage. They are the ones on defense. The attack needs to come to them, and there's only 2 minutes left for MnM to try and get that plan down.
Setting themselves on with eyes in, making sure they have a good idea of where everybody's playing. They want to get themselves with a bit of a control here, but hey, that's not one of ours. The drone is able to play in the hands of Aces until Nafe takes it out of his misery. They'll have an idea, and Rips, well, he's got a C4, and we've seen C4s not work for Rogue, and I guess we'll see if this one is any different. It's prepped, it's holding, and it's waiting, and they're going to try and hope for potentially an audio cure just to see some feet head over at open angle and see if they can get Dats on the flip side, but otherwise, with a minute 20 on, it's still just waiting. MnM, they're making sure they don't overstretch. They know how much is at stake here, and they know who they're up against.
It's 2 players playing downstairs, one of them carrying that C4. It's Aces, who might be in a very crucial role here in these last 65 seconds, because the plant must be pushed at some point if kills don't start raining in soon. And it's Nafe that has the, duty to do so right there, as you quickly see that ventilation shaft being used to get a stun through. They know exactly where Kozheka is because of that one, and he's still a little bit concussed because of the reason of that happening. Not be able to get the kill down onto Junker. Funkus, however, will be going down together with Junker. No, Funkus still lives, as it's a 4-on-4 right now. 40 seconds left. Ace is playing from below. Uses C4, not a kill that he managed to pick up with it. Is there a shotgun opening on the default plan? I believe it might be. And if that is going to be the case, that is going to be helping them. Yes, it is. They open up right behind the pool table, right behind the default plans. And that means they need to go deep. They need to go for the frags. Otherwise, this round is going to Rogue.
Well, with the angles open up there, they know what needs to be played, but it is in a method of response and revenge, and there it is. Nafe goes down with the diffuser in hand and Rips lets loose and is able to get the shot down, with Leon getting one more. All down, no down, everybody's down. Rogue 2-0 up.
It almost seemed like MnM were able to bring it back, but as soon as I saw those verticals, I saw one man playing below, and the time they were sticking out slowly with not a man advantage for MnM, you could almost guarantee that was going to be going to Rogue. They had to push for kills. They did not have the manpower to do so or the utility to make it happen. And thus, Rogue able to pick up that final round that they should have had a lot earlier, I have to say. They should have had it, let's say, 4 rounds earlier, at least. But hey, they got there in the end. They managed to pick up map number 2. And that leaves us at a map number 3 that could be deciding for this best of 5.
But before we do that, I think it's time. I think we all need it as well as the players. Let's have a quick break before we go back to the desk to find out how that went down. Just a second. How long do we have?
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What a map 2! We went to sunny Ibiza, and it went all the way in overtime. An 8-7 victory for Rogue that almost so close to slipping away from their hands. A mirror to what we had yesterday in the matchup between MnM and Kovana. Though, big differences between Consulate and Coastline. What are we looking at here, Gio?
Oops,
happened.
I did it again.
It is.
I muted my mic.
Listen, it's a rite of passage, okay? No, I mean, this obviously was significantly less one-sided. Just the fact is, MnM do not feel comfortable on Consulate whatsoever, and they knew that going into that map as well. However, this one was one that they felt would be a lot more in their favor, and that it definitely was, but it was a super aggressive either side. It was very, very reliant upon a lot of gunfights. That was, in a lot of cases, what won certain rounds. And there were definitely instances on both sides of players just being caught out in various situations. I mean, if you want to look at an example of something that Rogue did, you know, you've got, like, Dats kind of faffing around in VIP, has Aces sneak up behind him as Oryx, like, in VIP corridor. And then you've got the example of Kajeka walking in front of blue window right at the end when Nath is trying to stop a diffuse being put down. So there were some small mistakes on both sides, and I think you noticed those slip-ups a lot more in this map.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Coastline is one of those maps, right, where something tiny can go wrong, and it makes such a big difference. Like, it's a playmaking map. Like, let's be honest about it. This isn't a map where it's all about the technical hard breach. Like, you even had Ace Bandit, right? And Thatcher as well. So it's all about your mechanical skill, playing off of each other, taking ground, and really showing up. That's really what I saw on Coastline. And historically, we have seen maybe, you know, Rogues had mixed results on the map, but we do know that some of these players do love it. Historically been a fantastic map for Aces, seen some amazing things in the past, and I do really think it was a lot of those big multi-kill rounds that got it over the end for Rogue.
Yeah, I was just going to ask production, thank you very much for putting up the graphic, exactly this graphic at this perfect time. Look at how MnM have a certain spread in their cost and in their kills, and how it doesn't really translate the same way for Rogue. That really compounds and Coast, doesn't it, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, Jonker at the top, he's there with 15 kills. Nathan at the bottom with 6, but it's so evenly spread throughout those players, whereas Rogue very top heavy. You had Leon and Aces, and it's funny when we were talking about this, you know, behind the scenes, as soon as I mentioned that, both Leon and Aces got kills, so it was just perfectly timed. And then Kajeka all the way at the bottom, he didn't show up as much on this map as he really did on Consulate, and in some cases it almost looked like he was being a bit preemptive and jumping to it a bit much, kind of overzealous in some situations, almost like he wanted to keep up with himself from what he'd done before, and I think that kind of made him trip over a bit.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Kazek is one of those players where he does a specific role quite well, and it's quite a supportive role. And the way that Rogue wanted to play Coastline, I don't think he fit very well into that. It wasn't up his alley in terms of playstyle. On the flip side, you've got Dats from MnM, a player that we've talked about. He's had some big moments. He's also been a player to fall victim to early frags a lot, especially yesterday against Kovana. But he turned out really well here on Coastline. I think it happens to be one of those situations where certain playstyles and certain preferences of different players really do prefer certain maps. Coastline, look, if you love a good frag, if you love to just take those mechanical fights and really work together as a team rather than necessarily complete like utility-focused objectives, then I think this is going to favor you, and that's exactly what we saw. But Rogue, they have a lot of firepower on that roster. 31 kills between the two of them, Leon and Aces.
I feel I've also wished upon a star because one thing that we saw today, which is a rarity, is Oryx, number one.
Yes.
And two, Oryx actually doing something. Number two, yeah. And three, actually doing something that he was designed to do. That is actually very beautiful to see. And both of these teams put them forward. I wonder if the T5 had something to do with it after switching out with the MP5. But man, that breathes a lot of a breath of fresh air into all of this. But then both of these teams using proxy alarms, using even substituting nitro cells for bulletproof camps. There's a wide range of utility being put down in this game, James.
Yeah, I feel like one of the great things about Coastline is you have that freedom. We often talk about it. You don't have to bring a hard breacher, and on the defense, obviously that means you don't have to bring as much wall denial. You really have a lot of freedom. So you see the Oryx, we saw a lot of Frost from Jonka, as it's become a bit of a favorite of his. We saw the Twitch, like we've seen players jump around on operators willy-nilly, really just whatever they feel like they can bring to the table to win that one particular piece of ground or that one gunfight or cover that one plant. And it makes Coastline just inarguably the most exciting map to watch.
Then Max OT on Coastline, how does that translate into next map, map 3, Clubhouse here? Because Rogue are close to closing this and just taking it home, remaining in the league, Gio.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because I think MnM were probably banking on Coastline going better for them, even though it was very, very close. This was their map pick, and now they've got to go over to Clubhouse. That's Rogue's map pick, clearly something Rogue feel more confident on. And when we look back at Consulate, where they did look quite coordinated, those are things that are really going to work for you quite well. Plus, in this instance, you do have a lot of that information that you can gain from the game that MnM played yesterday against Kovana.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. The fact that we saw MnM play this just yesterday is a big deal. That said, this is Rogue, the map that Rogue has won the most over the last 6 months. It's also the map that MnM has won the most over the last 6 months. This is a map that both teams are good at. This is a map where both of them have a lot of depth to their strategy, but there's also a lot of VODs out there. They've played it so many times, and they should have researched each other. So this is going to be a fantastic way to potentially settle this series.
So 3-0, or does it go beyond? Gio, yes or no?
Oh, I'm leaning towards a 3-0 now, just because I've kind of been taken aback, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
James?
No doubt about it, we're going to see overtime, but I think Rogue may just be on track to stay in EU League 2021. MnM, if I'm wrong, go prove it in the server.
All right, let's see what happens. You can talk all you want on social media, but once you get into the server, that is where it really matters. Grab your pictures, ladies and gentlemen. We're on our way to Frankfurt for Clubhouse. Fluke, take it away.
And we're about to go into that server where MnM needs to show it according to you, James. Will this be 3-0 for Rogue? Will they retain their spot in the European League? Or is MnM finally going to be fighting back with a map win of their own?
I don't know, but I sure am excited to find out. Let's jump into Club now, MnM. You are dicing dangerously right now. You've got to run through and run back all of these maps, and you've got to do it in a style that is matching what Rogue has been able to put down so far. It is not unreachable. It is not out of possibility, but it is not easy. And unfortunately, that is what you got to do right now. Let's see if you can make it. Either one more map, maybe 3. Let's get into it.
Alright, Hibana Ben to start things off on a map like Clubhouse is not something really uncommon. Of course, the hatches will be harder to open up right now, which makes the basement hold of Armory Church a bit more viable potentially. And Itachi will follow that one up. So those two, nothing really revolutionary, would you say?
No. Did you
good answer.
Did you want a
yes.
more prophetic? It's Clubhouse.
No. That was the answer I was hoping for.
Yeah,
It didn't-
it's Club. Goodbye Hard Destruction. Goodbye Thatcher. It's the standard MO. Mirror, Fonkers is calling it. No.
Ooh, he's wrong. I hope this doesn't give
Hush.
anything for his shots that he will be 0-1.
0-1.
For Rogue, he means, or
For his guessing game.
Funkers 0. Matt Bands 1. Currently going up, and he's being made fun of that after that. It's quite understandable. At least they're still being able to make some jokes about it, you know what I mean? And this is actually going to be mirror open. So we might see that coming into play. Funkers caught for the mirror bend, not happening. They might want to show Rogue why they should have banned mirror instead of Maestro.
Judge and Arsenal. We head down and let's see what they can do down beneath, obviously. Let's talk a little bit about MnM's showing here, because I've referenced it once or twice throughout the other maps, but in their showdown against Kavana, sloppy post plants and little mistakes led to a loss. You kind of hope that that was something where they've been able to take that back, learn these lessons before bringing themselves back here, because it is a map that can very quickly punish you if those get out of the way, as unfortunately they know too well.
They do know too well.
And defuse bomb.
And as we're starting off MnM on the clubhouse, on the bottom floor, in do or die. Part 3, not really. This, I think, if we were talking about parts before, this is truly the do or die for MnM. This is where they have to show up. This is where they need to win the map. There is no going back. There is no going to OT and losing it out, just barely resetting your mindset and go up to the next one. We just had that map. It needs to be MnM right now that needs to strike back, and they need to win 3 maps in a row. They have no more extra lives. All of them are gone.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I'm really curious to see the level of confidence we might get from MnM, because
Attackers are moving out to
they
locate a
have the
bomb.
potential to have these huge builds, but they're also well aware of what's at stake here. It's something where these players have been knocking on this door for a long time. There is a huge amount of talent in this roster. There's a huge amount of potential that can come through here, but you're now not only against Rogue, you're against Rogue with 2 maps slipped past. You are looking at an even, unfortunately, bigger mountain. It's like when you get there and you're like, we were told this is a tough climb, and then they pull away a background to reveal a tougher climb, and then they've pulled away another background, and that is the situation where they're in. So, what can be built here by MnM? What confidence and what cool can be brought from the experienced and verdant professionals like Fonkers to develop into something of success?
That is the big question here, because they're not only playing against Rogue, but now also against themselves just a little bit. And you might be confused as why I say that, but that is due to the fact that the pressure starts cooking more now than ever, because they also know no more mistakes can be made. Yes, of course, in this map you can make a little mistake, might, you know, cost you a round, but you need to make sure that every single map from this point onwards will be going your way, because otherwise you're losing out on your dream for at least another year. Yes, of course, the transfer windows are coming up. Maybe a player like Fonkers could be picked up by any team that's in need of help, you know, of reinforcements in case MnM wouldn't make it. But it's still, your dreams would be slipping away from you. And MnM, they want to make sure that that is not going to be the case. Not now, not today, and not on Clubhouse here.
A lot of time's gone so far in the build-up, but that's Club. Hard destruction and slow and steady is the MO. They're making sure they get these hatches and don't waste any of the precious resources. Obviously, with the changes of Habana, she's a pretty obvious pick out and removal because of what she can offer with the ability to flip between 2, 4, and 6. If you can't get the hatches with that, then you've probably got the problems. And here, though, it gives yourself a little bit more of a limitation. It's not easy to be able to burn the perfect patterns to make sure those hatches fall, so they got to make sure that when they do go for the push, it's at the right time to push. Now the pressure comes as Dats keeps a keen eye with the cover from users to make sure nobody slips through. He's actually going to opt to drop out from behind the big bit of blue utility, and the pings are consistent. That's probably why. The swing on the man on the close right door, but there's one on the box and a third just waiting on the rotation. They are primed, primped, and ready, and unfortunately you are not. There goes one, there goes two. Yonka finds a double with Nate finding one more. Leon stems the flow and stops the bleeding, but what a loss for very little entry.
Oh, there comes a grenade. Users has to run. Won't be able to survive. Leon Gitz goes down and rips the last man standing right here. Will be, well, shortly falling as well as he tries to make something happen at least. Maybe the time will run out. We won't know. Picks up one for his efforts, but instantly gets executed right after. That picks up that kill. And MnM are in the lead with just one round for now.
Good, solid opening. I think that was there from MnM. They set themselves up with a good defense that responded quite quickly. They realized the push was coming from the blue side. They had, as I said, 4 bodies watching a door in a rotation. They had eyes and angles towards the start of that. Okay, there was a pressure coming down from Dirt as well, and that wasn't every single Rogue player set up in that situation. But, again, quick responses, quick manipulation, just getting out of the way of a grenade. If that had gone and blown him, it could have been a very different story, but instead was able to keep Leon at bay. CC is where we head up to next, and that is the first time we've seen MnM take the opening round.
Managed to take that one. Let's see if they can build upon this. As I said before, there is no more maps that can slip away from MnM, because that would mean the end of the series. That would mean them being in Challenger League for another year, having to do with UKIN, having to do with Challenger League, trying to find yourselves back up. And well, as the other national champions will be emerging, it is going to be, well, another tough fight for them to go through Challenger League. I'm not saying they will not make it, because they are a very strong team. But you don't want that. You want to play in EUL, you want the exposure, you want to have that experience, and you want that sense of security. Because that is something you might miss out on if this map, or the next, will slip away.
Now then, drones, angles, and ideas seems to be the bit of the presence that Rogue need to do, and well, they got to start trying to get a bit of a handle on this, because as we've said before and seen, when things start to slip, sometimes, well, MnM take advantage of that. It's not that Rogue's pace might increase or decrease so much, but the confidence of MnM has been a bit of a big burn for them, and they're able to make sure that they can pull some rounds, including flawlesses and insane clutches. I'm so excited to watch the highlight reel of later, but either way, it's MnM when they are on momentum and when they're rolling, and that's Rogue. That's Rogue that needs to shut that down and build a wall.
Of course, Tertiary map, Rogue has that two map advantage so far, so even if this doesn't go their way, there is no pressure yet really on them. The C4 is being raised up here. Actually, smoke canister to do some damage to Leon Gids. Doesn't allow, oh, actually doing a lot of damage right there, that canister.
Yeah,
mind you, if Leon Gids falls, that wall won't open up.
That's it, and I don't think Leon expected it. Obviously, it's, you know, built smoke from the client side. It looked a little bit wide, and I think Leon thought he was safe, but unfortunately, the lungs have disagreed.
Oh no! No way, Aces! Well, I mean, I guess you do the job for him. At least he got the wall open, though. You know, we gotta give him that. That is not
so loud. Your mic went supersonic for me.
They don't go supersonic again.
That was insane. The grenade there swings through and Rips tries to put some pressure in, but gets taken care of by users from range. Great mastery of an SMG, and well, if there's a confidence shaker, it's an accidental team kill over an opening, one side to the other. C'est la vie. Leon, as he fortunately has to sit out and watch and wait with his own frag grenade still in hand. Dangerous tools and dangerous angles. Aces, he's trying to bait the fire there. That's why he's knifing towards it. He wants to know where they're at, and he wants to know when they're waiting and when they're watching, so he can rotate just like that. And, well, he takes the momentum and takes past the Banshee.
The idea of the grenade, of course, was to take down Nate, who was putting up all these smokes to try and take down Leon Gids. However, of course, the opening was already made from below, and that means that the shrapnel will be finishing the job that Nate started. And now here we are. That's Stats coming in with 1 kill. Trying to go for the second one, but not hitting the shots quite yet. Knows exactly where he is right now, though. Just peeks up again and gets the one onto Korzeka, leaving Corey, the last man standing on Rogue. Picks up 1 for his efforts. The question is, will he be able to pick up 4 more? C4 is being tossed in. Will be opening up the line of sight a little bit more for Corey. Not dealing any points of damage right there. Something that might have been the intent of MnM.
15 seconds
As he
remaining.
drops down, surely we'll be exploring another avenue.
Yeah, he's going to swing round, try and pick up the diffuser and see what he can do. Starts with a bit of pressure one way, but, well, there's Funkers to find a bit of pressure somewhere else. MnM, I said, they're very good at capitalizing upon momentum. Mistakes is included in that, and accidentally grenading a teammate. Well, that's pretty much up there, as well as accidentally taking care of your Maverick on a wall that desperately needs to be opened. Couple of slip-ups, couple of mistakes, and a couple of missteps have come out from Rogue. Yeah, okay, they're 2 maps up, and they've been playing pretty well so far, but comfort can sometimes be a killer, and if you give a team an inch, they will take a mile, a map, and who knows what else.
Well, let's just say MnM really managed to get their flame up right here. And they're starting us strong in this map. 2 rounds in a row. Yes, of course, this is Clubhouse. You're expecting with the current bans it to be a very defense-sided map. A 4-2 split for the defense is something you would be looking at. But that does mean that Rogue needs to pick up this round. The tertiary bomb side, the offside, whichever call prefers it for you. This is the one where Rogue needs to show up. This is where they need to perform if they want to be aiming towards that 4-2 split. If they don't do it now, it's going 3-0. We're going back to the bottom floor, which is really hard to take with the lack of a Hibana. And it might be 4-0. And suddenly it could be MnM just walking away with Clubhouse quite decisively.
Well, Funk has called for a mirror ban and has made sure to actually play it. They're gonna say, well, you let her through, and this is why you should ban her next time, is his MO. Setting themselves up with a hold inside logistics, giving themselves the rotation. Mirror is fantastic in a lot of places, but especially so this side. It really allows you to open up your angles. You have more of an option if you want to play inside the little cubby and keep an eye into the bedroom. You can play it as obviously Funkers are set up there too in logistics to make sure you have the eyes towards construction. It gives you more stretch and more strength in the core of how a lot of teams hold this, which is the extension towards CC, which is that spread across the flat floor. It means you have a little bit more in the decisive middle.
It's a buffer, really. You're going to be making sure that Rogue has to put down utility towards the cache site, meaning that Selmas will be used, potential impacts or concussions will be used as well. As man, this is a very clear drone right here on Yonka. They know exactly where he's going to be at. Takes out the drone now, though, at the very right moment, because he's being hunted. Somehow manages to rotate himself all the way back up the eastern stairs, up into the cache room. And Rogue not able to pick up a free kill, you could almost call it, because both Corey and Kerzheka were about to pick him up, but he managed to slip away from both of them at the exact right timing, as he managed to find out he got droned at the exact right timing.
Well, here comes the pressure and presence, and so far all of them are standing, but look at this stack up that they're making sure they've pushed the body off of CC, but here's the mirror window we talked about before. It's the extension through. It gives them eyes and an angle. The pressure and the concern is coming from above. And there's still frag grenades in the hand, and we know Aces is deadly with them, but let's see if he's actually deadly on the right person. He's dancing a dangerous tiptoe here. He swings down. Look at the tiptoe balance, though. We saw a man from MnM fall off this roof just yesterday. We're seeing shots through a very narrow space. Oh, Aces, you have introduced this to a lot of people's ranked games.
I was going to say, have you ever seen this before? Because I don't recall it. I was going to say, that mirror position is really smart because there's no way you can get an angle on it from that hatch. And then we see Aces. Hey, just introduced it. Stepping up on the right there, just parkouring up as the grenades rain through. Nath will be taken out. It's a 4-2 situation now. Make that one as it's only up to Yunka. Tosses out his C4 as Aces manages to get the double kill. The plans will be going down. It's only up to Yunka right now. 45 seconds. Do not even reach that clock as Rips picks up that final kill. And can we just yet again highlight that kill from Aces? That was some parkour.
Coconut bro, take notes.
You're slacking.
I'm gonna say that, and I bet someone's gonna be like, "Well, actually, he's done that."
He did it already. Aces watched the Coconut Bra video.
Aces is Coconut bro. That's the twist. No, that was. You could see how dangerous it was. You could see he was weighing up because there is that second where you've got to hit that right spot, and I guess I'm aware of that. I've never seen that before casting myself in this game. Whether it's been done in another game or not, I couldn't tell you, but First time I've seen that in action as a way to take that mirror window, and I feel like I'm going to see it a lot now.
Suddenly that spot is a lot less viable.
It's dangerous, too. I guess he had to do something to make up for grenading Leon. So he was like, okay, let me pull this out of the pocket. 2-1, MnM. You still have an option, and 4-2, as we said, is a standard split for Club. You have potential to keep yourself building, but Rogue have something. This is where we're going to see if it's lessons learned, because last time they threw themselves in and stacked themselves against Blue, and everything kind of went wrong. Now, though, can they learn from lessons? Can they try and dig themselves in? Where, though, we're going to see something a little bit more standard, potentially go for the kitchen hatches, and obviously Moto too, or if they're going to try the plan again and see if they can make it through the guns of MnM this time.
I'm just going to bring it back quickly again to that last round. The only reason why we're seeing that spot being introduced right now is due to the fact that Rogue does not have the 6th Invitational on the line. Otherwise, they would not have used it right here. I'm pretty sure of it. They would have kept it a secret. We wouldn't have seen it until the 6th Invitational. And right now, many teams that might not have been aware of this spot are going to be, well, maybe even reiterating some of their strategies to take care of that one spot right there. And how do you challenge it? There's like a giant metal fence in front of it as well that will catch most of your bullets if you're playing in a position that Leon, was it Leon? I think it was Leon, just took someone out from. Or Aces, rather. Anyway, they approach. Yeah, and they look for the staircase, and they look for the pressure, and they look for the man behind the bar, but it's actually the ping for ping, blow for blow. They didn't quite get the man on the stairs, but they're well aware that he's there. Fonkers was able to swing onto one, caught in the middle, but now it's Aces versus Usus, and it's going to be another attempt with their grenade. This one goes a little bit wide, and Usus goes a little bit further away. Doesn't need to risk it, doesn't need to put it, but they do need to clear him out. Has the possibility of opening up this hatch too to cause some destruction. They've left it closed for now. It'll make noise when they open it, but they know he's up there, or they know someone is. They know that it's a problem that they've got to deal with, because a problem like that will come back to bite you later on in the day. You got to also look at what's been lost from the guns of Rogue opening. Yet again, it's the hard destruction of Maverick. I'd say Leon went a bit too aggressive right there as he stepped forward out of the doorway, putting himself into harm's way of the angle that Usus was playing in. Knowing that Aces was coming in from pool, he did not have to move to make sure that kill was going to be guaranteed. He could have just perfectly fine stayed in his position right now as Usus dropping down the hatch as the phone call, bring down the stairs, I'm going to say, as the phone calls are coming in. There's going to be Dats that is going to be receiving quite some pressure right now as he's being pushed from 2 different sides with phone calls and stuns everywhere.
Well, there goes one, there goes a body, and there goes 2. Both for Dats as he finds one. Swinging around the utility, it's just the 2 bodies left inside dirt. They're creeping their way forward, but no further they will go. Kazeka hits the wall of smoke, and look at the blood spray of the man crawling desperately behind the 3rd box to try and get a pickup. Rips. Goes for a big rotation, 47 seconds. There's plenty enough time to try and apply a bit of a pincer here as they're going to frag grenade their way past that. Oh, Lucy, there it goes. And there goes a little bit more of a swing. Oh no, there also goes your one remaining teammate. Usus crept his way back up the stairs and dropped rips. There's Kazeka finally getting that Banshee, but yet again, it's one person in dirt against 4 MnM players that are well aware where you are, and they're thirsty for a bit of a KD buffer here now as they're swinging every which way against Kazeka. Sees ahead, doesn't quite catch it. But hey, 16 seconds and a pretty insurmountable wall to get through. The canister is potentially going to cook it. Going to dig a grenade around the corner to see if they can get somebody, but even that is a bit of a whiff, a bit of a miss. A bit of an escape here for a man saving Caden.
Yeah, that's not going to be a round that is going to be challenging. He tried to get some picks out as they maybe were a bit too aggressive, but well, wasn't able to find any, and thus will be choosing to take the loss to maybe use those last 5 seconds to talk a little bit extra about the next round that's going to be coming up, because it's CCTV cash. It went horribly wrong after a grenade of Aces managed to take down Leon gets the last round, so they got to make sure that that will be avoided, whilst also trying to hold up and make sure that Smoke of Nave is not going to be chipping away that much HP of Leon gets, who tries to help his team by opening up.
CCTV and cash we head back to, and Leon, he's up into the thermite. He's not going to play the Maverick role. They're going to try potentially something a little bit more quicker. I know they're having discussions about it because it seems like the pace, the balance of the hard destruction is being a bit costly, and I think they want something a little bit more, I'm going to say simplified. It's a bit of a touch and go. It's a bit more of a, you don't have to have such an active presence to be able to burn your way all the way through the wall. So Let's see if it offers a little bit more success. And it's also 2 less frag grenades in the hands of them.
It's 2 less frags indeed they have to worry about. Still 4 on the board though on Rogue right now. It's quite many you have to deal with. There is of course the 3 ADSs that will help you out. But you gotta remember that some of those frags are often being used to get rid of banshees or other destructible utility like shields that are being run by Nave. You also saw one of them being used to get rid of a bulletproof chem that Funkers brings. So how many of those frag grenades will eventually be used on actual anti-personnel? It's hard to tell because it really depends on how big of an impact Corey will have, for example, with his 2 impacts that he has.
Well, the slow and steady approach is coming through, and let's see if they can actually make something of it. So far, we've seen Rogue be a little bit slippy on this map. If we're going to talk about MnM having problems before, this time, I guess it's down to Rogue that we can point the fingers at. Yeah, they're on their attack on Club, and yeah, they're 2 maps up, but yeah, they're also making little mistakes. Hey, remember when I said it'd be a little bit easier if they make things a little bit simpler? They have done. What is the presence that's happening on site right now? Because look at the spread they've done here into Jim instead.
User's taking a bit of damage right here, I believe, from the window. Will be dropping down into the pool. As a grenade just rolled in, so great timing from him. As Rogue is starting to put the pressure down onto the master bedroom and gym side of the map. Balls coming out as well. Users rotating around with the shotgun, of course, opening up these barricades they put down to slow down Rogue. Will now be using as a doorway for himself.
MnM, they're reevaluating and reassessing where they need to be, and that assessment came down. We got to get the heck out of Jim. You can see all of the blue bodies are making their way around. Fingers on a fist. They want to collapse upon those loose players of MnM, and MnM just are not going to let them. They'll hand the territory over. They'll say, take it, we'll just go back to the site and defend it. It's not easy, because there's big angles opened and the walls popped open too, but it's still somewhere safer. And if you lose your man advantage now, well, it's going to make things much dicier when they actually go for the collapse on the open space they've cleared through. Construction has fallen into the hands of Rogue 2, and now they're setting themselves up for this take, but the first blow falls, and Nathan is the one that's able to take care of it. Yonka's rotated around to the double red stairs too. As the other wall falls, it's just becoming very dangerous space for MnM to stick themselves in.
One man down on Rogue's side. Not looking good for them as Funkers wants to go for a run out here. Corey, however, in the meantime with a double kill before he gets taken out. But that's his response. We'll be able to pick up one, not the second one though, as he falls down. Not enough ammo in that small CZ, but it's still a 1v2 situation here. The diffuser has been dropped. One of the members is on the catwalk, the other one is at the bottom of garage, and they do have line of sight on that diffuser. At least are going to be able to challenge it. Aggressive goes Kozeka, not able to hit the shots left. Swaps over to the SMG-11, but will be taken down by Funkers, who was on those garage stairs, on the catwalk stairs. And MnM are able to win yet another round, put themselves up to 4-1. Only one round more to go to put themselves up onto that 5-1 scoreline. MnM really looking strong right now in the clubhouse. And Rogue need to make sure that they win this next round. Onto the gym bedroom, because otherwise it is going to be a very hard second half coming up.
Gym bedroom. Let's see how this one plays out. Obviously, we said 4-2 isn't the most out there result. Isn't the most out there performance. But what we're seeing now from Rogue is a little bit of a shaked performance. They haven't quite had the same momentum and control they've had over the past 2 maps, and whether it's because they've stepped down or MnM has stepped up, I guess is one of those stories we'll only really see on the turn of the half, and we potentially get a bit more of an idea of what they're like on the opposing sides. Either way, Club, it's going MnM's way and MnM's favor right now, and it's Rogue's choice of map, so it's good that they're actually finding some pretty solid success. It's not just that they're scraping through rounds, as we've seen them do in some of the earlier maps. It's really well played. And everything seems a little bit balanced. The control, the teamwork, and the conversation and communication is there. They're doing it now in a situation where they've got to pull all 3 maps, but at least they're doing it.
I'm gonna have to correct myself, Luke. Apparently the angle was not new. Apparently it's been used very often, even though I've never seen it myself, so that's a mistake of me.
That's why I always add that, like, add-on.
According to Medics, it's because I'm good one. So I have to
Oh, is Medics the one that's confirmed it?
No, it was just other people telling me.
It's the first time, yeah, as I said, it's the first time I've seen it and casted it. But, you know.
But anyway, round 6, last round of the half. Corey taking a lot of damage to start off with. Spotting the player rotating through that window, but as soon as you peek down, it's going to be way too late, and that's going to be allowed to freely rotate up to the eastern stairs. We're checking the cams, trying to find out whether or not he's being chased or not, but fact being, he is going to be putting down the extra pressure onto CCTV, a site or a room rather, that Rogue really would like to take control of right now.
There's Maverick doing the work he needs to do and able to pop that wall open, making sure that he's free to burn his way steadily through. Dat is being hounded by drones as he pulls himself in. They've opted to hold this a little bit longer, and Fonks has rotated to offer some otherwise pretty aggressive support, but that's the cost. Dats loses his life. He tried something different, and unfortunately, it didn't work this time around. There's still a clash that they are yet to meet, and they've got to get past the mirror. Dug in with the potential here, but she's not falling for the same mistake as before.
The MK14 coming in. Not taking any kill down yet, though. Aces is aware of 2 players being active on the actual side. Has grenades available in his arsenal. As the phone call will be coming out right now, that will be helping the rest of Rogue to try and pinpoint the location of these players. They will have to deal with the phone or let it ring. And I believe it's going to be letting it ring, because you really don't want to be on your phone right now, turning it off as soon as any second from then someone could be coming in for the peak. Nath, right here, covering up that hatch with the shield, will be making sure that a drop through that hatch will be immediately slowed down and, well, possibly answered upon by one of his teammates. And with 1 minute left in the clock, it is Rogue that really needs an entry somewhere.
They're swinging onto the windows as best as they can, and Funkus has a C4 in pocket, but not much health, so he's going to opt to get out of there. Hitting the drone, and Clash can't do it and can't drop it because it would put herself in too much of a dangerous situation. Kajeka is looking to try and take care of her and does have frag grenades in pocket, but there's the pinch, there's the pincer, there's another grenade, and there's more pressure. They are playing such a dangerous game, and it falls away from them. Aces with the double swings his way into sight with Leon on the shoulder. They're making sure they have everything locked down for Leon to get this diffuser down too. Nath is stuck in a corner, and it's only really him and Usus left. Usus is able to take care of Rips on the stairs. Post-plant situation, and a Clash taking a very dangerous fight against Kajeka, and the only fight she can. There's the Pokeball, there's a catch, there's a Kajeka, but there's still 3 more Rogue players left.
And Nave has a shield. He has a shield to play with. Another Pokeball being tossed there, but look at that HP. Aces on 1 will be surviving for now as Corey peeks the window, gets the final kill, and does Rogue is putting themselves up to a 4-2 exit position on this half. And that is going to be the best they could have gotten out of this one, the way it was looking. But before we go into the next half, before we see Rogue on the defense, let's go to a quick break.
And we're back. Look at that. We're back.
Look at that.
What did you do this time? What did you do this break?
Again, I hydrated. I'm Chief Hydration Officer, so I'm gonna
the
tell everybody
CHO.
again. Yeah. Hydrate, drink, take a sip of your water, because this game is going to be going on for at least 6 more rounds. I'm telling you right now.
Wow.
I didn't say this match. I said the game.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if MnM can try and lock it off. There are only 3 of those potential 6 away from being able to at least get a map. It doesn't mean it's over. It means they've still got 2 more maps to go. But hey, success is what you build upon. Success is what they've been able to build pretty well here so far. But as I said before, my curiosity will be what happens on the Rogue defenses. If it is that they've just slowed themselves a little bit and MnM's been able to catch up, or it was MnM pushing more pressure, now is the tell. It's always hard to judge before you get a true taste of both teams. Down in the church, down in the basement, what do you have? You have a mirror.
Attacker's objective is to locate a
You have that mirror that is going to be allowing you to keep control of the main stairs the way that they're currently playing it. Not quite sure where the second one is going to be deployed. Linkit still has that one in pocket, so might be wanting to wait until they know where the push is going to be coming from. Then either we'll be pushing it towards blue, or maybe in a completely different position. Nowhere else, actually. Normally you would be putting it in blue, but Leon Git's still holding on to it for now.
And here, the work being done not too far away, and Corey's going to make sure he doesn't get isolated from the rest of the team. He doesn't want to catch himself with bodies potentially on the garage door and behind him, so he's just going to take them from the CC side as well. He's going to hand Garage a little bit over and keep himself alive. Aces isn't too far away too. They can double up and offer some destruction if they need to, but they don't need to. It's still a lot of time for the team to get themselves into the aggressive situation. Still a lot of time and a lot of land MnM need to take control of. So there's no rush from the two roaming guns. They have all the time in the world.
And right now, a lot of utility and a lot of manpower of MnM is being used to make sure that these roamers are being taken off that top floor. But keep in mind, we are playing the bottom floor, and the actual defense is a double peek into the strip will be coming in, and that might mean that Aces or Corey wants to hide in there as they are buddying up. They're just running around the map together, trying to find if they can actually pick up one kill, maybe even two, to put the advantage in their favor. They have it. Corey waiting inside strip, making a bit of bullet holes, making sure that if they would be able to get into bar, he's going to be able to surprise them from a nasty angle like that. And as MnM is deciding to just go for the kitchen right now, I'm wondering if there's any C4s available to be tossed up, because there is a Valkyrie who is playing on that bar floor though, just dropped down. Could be tossing one up if he's in time.
Moto hatch is open, which is always a big point of call if you're going for a kitchen take, and Nave seems a little bit concerned about this. As we said before, the job of those roamers and the job of those angles is to keep them guessing across a very big map, and that's what they are. They are so concerned about any of these angles that have been opened above and across the flat floor. Nave is never truly happy and confident as he starts opening up that kitchen hatch. That is a bit of work done, but with 40 seconds left, they have loads left to do. Peppering and popping bullets past the metal and coating of anybody that might be behind the third box. It's Leon who has a C4 and has a little bit of attention coming from Dirt as well. Swings onto one, suffers from the other. And now it's down to these roamers. Aces looking towards this door across the mesh, but it's actually from the stairs above. Fonka's rotated around the red stairs. There's no response and no revenge, and Corey gets taken too. Suddenly this is all falling into MnM's favor. Drop straight into the site and start trying to dig it down. It's a 2 versus 3 as Rips gets one from the main door. They're looking for the double here. The two players are still dug in, and there's one. Dats gets the swing. There's the second, right inside, right against them, and right shut out. MnM find themselves one more round.
They were able to do what Rogue was not able to do, Fluke. They were able to take down the bottom floor, the bottom side. And as that's a saying, I thought it was Jim, was most likely due to the fact that how the roam was being set up. There were so many people upstairs just playing and holding that MnM had to deal with it. They had to deal with that top floor, and well, as soon as they all dropped off, that was kind of what came back to bite them due to the fact that they wanted to go for these rotates, but they did no longer have top floor control. And MnM was really active on making sure they had that control. So that control eventually made sure they were able to pick up 2 kills from those staircases. And with that, they pick up that round. They pick themselves up to 5-2 right now. And this is a really good position for MnM. You won your first attacking round. This is where you build from.
MnM showing up right now and doing bits. As I said, it was a slow approach because you weren't quite sure. And I guess that was emphasized by Dat saying he thought it was Jim. It was MnM that did that play where they tricked a different site, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. Medics is saying
you got a very
BBS.
quiet. Yes, Medics is super quiet for me, which is a shame because he's always so funny.
10 seconds left.
He always makes these funny remarks when we're casting, and it's really hard to keep a straight face and staying in your character in that case.
One day, I hope that he's accidentally hot mic, because everybody deserves to hear Medics. Medics for caster. That's
he is a caster, actually.
No. Represent Adria.
Yeah. Just not casting with us, unfortunately. He tried, like, we offer it to him literally every broadcast, but he never takes it.
Yeah, I said I'll observe this one. It's already easy as well.
Yeah.
It's gone quiet.
He never seemed to take up on it. Yeah.
Well, I will say,
blushing.
who hasn't gone quiet is MnM. They've been able to build themselves a suppression. As I was saying before we went on that tangent about Medics, it's a situation where they're looking at what they have the potential of, and they're being aggressive about it. Before, when we were talking about how they were taking things on Coastline, sometimes they would leave it a little bit late. It was exceptional when they were able to pull stuff off, but it was late. There, we saw them go, well, this is a dangerous situation. Let's take it now. Let's put the pressure on now. They were successful in their one, successful in their firefights, and that just builds your confidence. So does that, being able to finally get the wall open, putting yourself in a dangerous situation. Hello, Clash, nice to see you, Ori says, as she makes sure she can stop them, and, well, says they can go no further, bruv.
Did that bruv really go after it? Is Corey the man that would say bruv?
I feel like you would say it to irritate.
To imitate, yeah.
It's like when Medic says, bottle of water.
Bottle of water? That's how he goes, indeed. Nah, I can confirm that. But wall has been opened up. The thing is, though, there is a Clash playing close to it in the name of Corey that will be making sure that no one will just be running in from that angle. Let's focus on his drone, spotting out on the second part of the mezzanines, second boarding. So surely someone will be coming up soon to try and take him out. As in the meantime, these Selmas are ripping through the reinforced walls near the western side of the map, into the bathroom, into the bedroom, which will allow them to eventually come up to construction and potentially open up there. So never mind, it's already opened up. So that means that the long angle we play from that mirror window is actually going to be dangerous to try and peek that, to try and contest that.
Yeah, it's such a tight spot. You can see her body's close to it as well, just around the corner. Close to in a situation of being able to swap through. They have the hatch underneath open too, so someone can get inside the bar and potentially loop a C4 up. It is so dangerous to approach that room, and that is a big play because this is the standard take, and MnM were doing it at a good pace, and this is the change-up. They've gone, okay, we'll do all these first steps. Ha ha ha, you thought this would be close. It's not. Hello, meet our mirror, which we didn't ban. These are the reasons. Oh my word, goodbye Leon. There is almost a second for Fonkers as he swings towards Rips. Might see the legs, but they're going to head back round and put the pressure now onto the top of Red instead. Usus is able to get care of Aces, and they're getting care of the site. Nate, the ever-present man who sticks his head down for it. 7 seconds, gets it, but then gets caught straight after a 1 versus 4. Corey is all that is left. A Clash is gone too. MnM, map point.
Here we have it, map point, 2 in a row for MnM. Screen shake for Nath, wasn't allowing him to pick up that kill, got taken down. But that doesn't matter, because all that matters right now is the fact that MnM are on map point. They're allowing us to potentially witness a map number 4 to come up for this series, and surely they don't want to be going down in a 3-0 fashion. And Rogue so far on Clubhouse, not really seeming at their strongest so far. And that could indicate into the fact that more strategical, more strategy-heavy maps could be leaning towards MnM's side, because Consulate and Coastline are both frag-heavy maps. They're more aggressive, more jump-outs and everything like that. And a map like Clubhouse doesn't really lend itself to it that much.
6-2. Rogue, and, well, I guess on a strat-heavy map, you're waiting to see if they show up and if they really start to put themselves to presence here, because they are trying, they are going for adaptations, but they're not landing. They're not quite hitting the levels where MnM, well practiced and well rehearsed, well put together on a map like Club. Things are lighting up for them. They only have 1 more round to be able to pull themselves into the potential of taking this whole. Kafe is obviously next to one up. Kafe, a very explosive map. And Kafe, the map that they wanted to go to. This is Rogue's second choice.
This is Rogue's second choice indeed, and that would mean it's quite troublesome seeing them, well, being in trouble like this. They're not really hitting the marks, not really able to pick up the rounds. And then you're looking at Kafe coming up next. I mean, I could still see that go Rogue's way, even though it's an MnM pick. If they manage to play with the sheer confidence they had during the map Consulate. And the last map is Theme Park. Now, I'm not sure what would happen if we go all the way up there. I talked to Rousty and he said that map is okay for them.
I think if it's a decider at the end of a best of 5, if a map is okay for you, that's maybe the best you can hope for.
Well, I mean, yes, but also you kind of want it to be a good map, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
but if the 5th map on a best of 5 is a good map for you, that's because you're good on a lot of maps. Like, that's the breakdown there, I would say. And, you know, it's this situation where if we get there as well, the coin flip of who is going to start on defense is probably going to be a big factor potentially in how the game is working out. But hey, we're not there yet. We've still got this map and we still got potentially 1 more between that. Let's see if Rogue can do a little bit more to bring it back. Rips, Playing and waiting around side those boosters to see if anybody is going to apply some direct pressure, but it seems like they're more focused on these two bodies on the top aces. Playing around red, and Corey making sure he's able to offer some support. He's droning it out from the backside and trying to cut the man in the middle and making sure that any rotation and escape is locked off. But look at Leon on the top of your screen. He's in a position to rotate rounds into logistics, to apply some pressure onto construction. If they can cut off users, then they can guarantee themselves a safe rotate. Everybody is in a little bit of a Mexican standoff right now, and it's whoever pulls the pin first is where this is going to break down. Oh, there it is. Pulled the pin and the Velcro and the trigger. And there goes Dats.
Wanted to toss in a grenade over the hole that was just made by Corey to get a C4 over. But the C4 was a little bit quicker. Not even able to get his frag grenade out of his hand up into the, well, landing next to Corey. Frag grenade still being tossed in though to try and take care of the east stairs, but Rips is playing there to get him aces to pick up yet another kill, and suddenly it's a 2-man advantage right here for Rogue to play with, and 60 seconds left. The hunt, however, is on. Yonka is trying to run after them, but they're long gone. They're already hiding in church, and Exes is holding an off angle, just picking him up as he runs past, and it's only up to 1 man now. It's Usus, the last man standing. He's up to 20 HP outside the window. What can he do? Nothing is the answer. Gets deagled by Corey. A flawless round from Rogue to respond, and that puts us up to 6-3. Rogue is not stepping down yet. They want to bring this to OT.
Well, I said I wanted to see something that brings a little bit more of that tactical balance from Rogue, and there it was. Every angle, every watch, and every window seemed to have a modicum of support as well as a structure behind it to make sure that there was a general hold across everything. 3 rounds still separate them from OT, and a lot more potential for MnM to bring something back. But let's see if they can build upon this. Let's see if Rogue can shut this off and kind of put a full stop on saying we're coming back to the top, no stopping us, or if MnM can lock this off and give themselves a bit more hope.
Can they lock it off? Can they push us to a map number 4 right now, or are we going back towards an overtime scenario?
Attackers need to
We've been there once. It was Max OT. And Rogue this time is going to be the ones that try to push for it. Last time it was MnM. Are they going to be able to lock up 3 rounds in a row? Because that's what they need. Cannot afford to lose a single one, because that would mean the end of this map. And up to Kafe we go.
Alright, MnM. You were able to take this very, very well before. You're able to set yourself in a very good situation and position, and from then on it seemed like, okay, maybe they've got 20 seconds left, but they had 20 seconds and they were able to pull apart all of the Rogue players. They had their angles, they had calculated aggression, and they had teamwork that was watertight. But the previous round was Rogue kind of showing that they can do that game too. Time to actually get there. Pre-fires a tree. Nobody was there just yet. Funkus a little bit too wide, a little bit too late. Pretty bold and happy to see if he can wait and watch the rotation.
Can we go and get to see that? 2 minutes 40 left on that clock. Funkus putting down the Claymore onto the oil pit ladder. Making sure no one will be rotating back up from that side. So default Claymore. Almost always being put down, and well, because of that, you almost never see someone try and rotate through. Quick punch being made, hoping to bait out some shots to try and find out if a player is actually playing close. But I believe Corey dropped down to the middle floor, dropped down to the bar. Will be rotating himself up into a flanking position yet again, up into the strip, where Rips is still playing inside the bar. So together they will be able to potentially back each other up to make sure that they can pick off these players of MnM that are going from top down instead of just directly hitting one of the sides.
Usus driving his drone to him. Work smarter, not harder, as he sets himself ready to go for a bigger approach. As you said, the Rogue hold is still pretty spread out. They're making sure that they have this bar on lockdown, and Rips is actually steadily flirting with danger, but heads his way towards the site. 4 bodies now. The only one loose is Corey, still on the bullet hole that was not detected, as far as we were aware, last time round. He actually rotated out past Billiards before he suffered a fate, so has the potential to still catch somebody a little bit unaware. There is still hatches left to get through. There is still a lot of work left for the attackers to do, but you can see Funkers on the opposite side, steadily clearing the bar. Big difference here is the hatch is solid and almost suffers there. Funkers lured into a false sense of security by the fact that they've gone for a more steady and stoic hold inside. Doesn't quite lose him his life, and now it's a 1 versus 1. Corey swings round, but they'll be well aware there's a presence here and well aware they need to get rid of it.
Oh, double kill coming in right there. Aces tossing out the Nitro, able to get both of them in the kitchen. And with that, drop the diffuser as well. That's your ace gone. You only have your Maverick left right now to try and open up. Whilst Corey and Funkers are in a bit of a Mexican standoff right here. Both at one side of the wall. Both can bang each other, but they have no clue. Junker will be able to pick up Leon. Gets his users, rotates out. We'll be hoping to potentially aid Funkers right here, who's going on the hunt, but it's going to be Corey that gets the kill. It's only up to users and Junker now, both inside of dirt. They're trying to charge at the site. The question, however, is, are they going to be able to win this round? Are they going to be able to make a 2v4 clutch happen with the SMG of Aces watching, with the MP5 of Kurzeka watching? Users is in, gets one kill, but instantly taken out from Rips all the way from the back. And there you have it. Kurzeka picks up that final kill. It's Rogue to pick up yet another round, and that means round number 10. Yet another round closer to overtime. Are we going to get that far? Are we going to see another overtime on the back of a couple match points that are being tossed away by the team in the lead?
I couldn't tell you that. I couldn't tell you a lot of things, but I can tell you Rogue have learned a lesson. Rogue have played that in a different way. They saw what was picked apart. They saw what didn't quite work for them, and they adapted, but they also kept a little bit of flavour of the first hole. They kept themselves in a situation where they had that bullet hole angle, as I said. With the Moto hatch solid, they baited them into the play. Baited them into the situation of, let's apply this pressure, let's apply this lockdown, and let's see if they come in. And they did. It turned into a win-your-one situation that went on a little bit longer than before. But either way, as a Rogue that learned a lesson, they got 2 more rounds to be able to try and learn themselves how to do this flawlessly.
As many bombs as they can.
Now, this might not be the toughest round they have coming for them in these next 2, because the tertiary side is still up on the board and needs to be played if they want to go to a overtime situation. Of course, there's no bar going to be played, and that means we are in CCTV cash right now, which is normally considered the... You're confused by that?
No,
the bar's not going to be played?
What?
What's the last time you've seen this in competitive, the bar?
The last time I've ever seen a competitive bar, it can probably be summed up as the only time I've seen a competitive bar was when GG played.
Yes. But on the back of who was that again? Wasn't that strategy they yoinked from from Flynn, right?
Yeah.
And then it didn't work out. So no.
So GG played and said, didn't work.
Didn't work. We're never playing this again. GG well played.
That's the only time I've seen competitive bar that I can remember.
I've seen it in previous Clubhouse.
Oh yeah. Oh, well.
Then it was always being played. Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's even older than the angle we'd never seen before.
Apparently so. Well, talking of angles, Asus is playing 2 mirror windows onto the entrance here. It's a particular way of trying to do this, and it's going to work this way around. They pop the window and try and catch the man before he can rappel up. It's a dangerous game. But now it makes that approach even more dangerous for them. They can stack this and swing onto this. It takes a bold play and a bold player. It's going to make things a little bit more tentative when looking towards that now slightly open but still strangely obscured CC wall.
You really wonder how that opened up, because sometimes the mirror windows, you see it's still being red pinged, so it means it's still in there, and that is probably going to be blocking a line of sight. It's going to be Leon Gitz, however, to go down, and there you have it. The mirror window still in on one side, and I believe there is going to be a little bit of a bar on the other, so it might not be actually faultable, the hole that they've created there. And now you see Junker opening up into the garage. They're going to be opening up a small hole, maybe to just walk through to potentially get a grenade in, but that's with a kill onto Junker after he takes down Corey. Not ideal, but Rogue will take it, even though they lost Corey for it.
Well, let's see if they can steady themselves into a proper approach now. They have the man advantage, and they have the possibility of being able to lock this map off before it gets dangerously close. Another OT. Rip suffers more. Bonkers finds yet another to add to a pretty impressive tally of the day so far. Waiting for the swing here from the top of the stairs. They don't seem to be playing that game as of yet, so there goes all of whatever was stacked onto the stairs, and there goes a Claymore. Kajeka is playing a dangerous game of crouch-walking Jaeger. Are they going to expect it? No, they're not, but he swings luckily with a gadget and swings for the kill. MnM! They find their first map on the 3rd attempt.
They stopped the comeback of Rogue. They made sure it was not allowed to progress past the 6-4 point. And that is going to be marking the first map win right here for MnM. and we still have one to go at least. We are going to Kafe next. There is maybe the potential for a theme park, but before we head out there, we are going to short break again and then back to the analysts to break down this, well, close match in the end.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The ordeal continues as MnM stay alive for one more map. We'll see how things go, as we're guaranteed pretty much a lengthier match that we even expected in this series. James, Gio, we're going through Clubhouse, a map that really turned the tables, I gotta say, on Rogue after Consulate on map 1.
Yeah, definitely a flip once again. I mean, it's kind of a funny pattern that we're seeing this series where teams are actually losing their own map pick, which is somewhat ironic considering the thing that me and Gio were not only just saying yesterday, but also today again, is the way you win a map, a best of 5 series is by you play the map veto and you win your maps. But it seems that these teams are very tight, and there's actually quite a lot of crossover in this map pool, with in particular MnM having just such a good performance, a dominant, maybe dominant, I feel like you can almost say dominant here, 7-4 over Rogue with some really, really good attacks.
Yeah, I mean, the attack was especially solid because you could tell that Rogue knew what it was they were trying to do. A lot of it involved those wide roams. They had Corey on the Vigil for a big part of it. I actually quite liked how they set themselves up for their, I believe it was in round 8, where they had the clash in CCTV, and they sent Aces and Kajeka as Jaeger and Mira deeper into the building once the server wall had been opened, because they knew that MnM were going to be coming around from the west. And you could tell they had it all planned in their heads. They knew what was going to happen or what to expect. And yet MnM still looked pretty dominant on their attack. And that was a really good sign for them, because they've been looking for that kind of like hook in that they can cling on to and force themselves forward with.
Gio, I'm told that there are some exciting moments that went on during the game.
I have one
You really
clip.
had to do it to him.
I have one clip. It was just because James and I laughed out loud so much when this happened, and that was this nade where Aces just sent it straight through Leon's reaction. Amazing. He just sent it straight through the server window, straight into Leon's face, and it made us laugh so much. I did not see the reaction before, though, and I just thought,
God
even
bless
though,
production for managing to get that reaction.
I mean, it got rid of the pressure on the wall. I can tell you that. Which side of it? I don't think that was the plan there. You know, it's so fun in games, right, Gio?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they were trying to work together, and they were just too well timed on what they were doing. And that, of course, is not going to be what lost them the round, but it's definitely entertaining to see.
Look at the spread on MnM here, James. This
Pretty
is
even.
Again.
Yeah, pretty even there. Dat's performing well, which is nice to see. I mean, 10-5. Really good, and we've highlighted him all day long. I was pretty critical of him yesterday when we saw him play against Kavana, and there were just so many rounds, especially on Clubhouse, where, I mean, if you remember, Gio, like 3 rounds in a row, Dats was just off roaming somewhere with Jaeger, gets shut down, has absolutely no impact, and that was not at all the case here. So it's really impressive to see that MnM have had such a significant improvement here on Clubhouse compared to yesterday. You know, they only managed 2 attacks in 6 rounds last time when they played this. In fact, 2 attacks in 7 rounds if you include the overtime, whereas here they only played, what, five attacking rounds, and they won 3 of them. Like, MnM have really stepped it up between yesterday and today, and a lot of it does come down to individual players really stepping it up.
Yeah, I mean, also, I just wanted to note users had a 91% cost, which is really something, especially when I think the highest in Rogue was 60-something, maybe 70. And then, of course, here are our 2 players who we've been following, Dats and Karjeka. You just spoke about Dats, James. Karjeka, again, didn't necessarily have the best map, especially when we compare back to Consulate. 3 and 8 for his KD, and it's exact same cost as that. So they seem to be doing the same amount in terms of those various things, the K, O, S, and T that you would look at. But in terms of personal performance, maybe not so much as best as the series has gone on.
Look, the biggest question is, why is Karjeka performing this way? Because this is, I think, a big problem for Rogue in general, being so top heavy. Why are they so top heavy in the metagame that we all know has shifted more towards people working together in a different way? You don't always rely on those top players. It's something of an oddity. It's like trying to replicate Empire, but failing miserably at it in that comparison. But let's talk about Kafe Dostoyevsky. We have a few more minutes before we hop into that. I'm curious if we see Theme Park, but I'm starting to feel the heat here if I'm Rogue, because this can all end. This game will remind everybody at home, if you lose this game, you're not playing an EU League in 2021. It is so huge, career-making. It can shift all of EU League's rosters if Rogue get eliminated today. So what is the job to actually finally close this series on Kafe, James?
Well, as we like to say, a best of 5 is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Rogue are used to playing a lot of sprints, a lot of those best of 1s. And the marathon, well, that's really what it's all about here. Rogue might have found the first 2 maps, but the reverse sweep is a serious possibility. You look at Kafe as the next one up for the chopping block. It is MnM's map pick, and while we've seen both teams play it quite a bit, like you look at the record for Rogue in the last 6 months, they've won it twice, lost it 6 times, most recently in the 6 Invitational qualifiers to Makers, and if you go back into the EUL season, they got 7-1 by G2, they lost even to Chaos. Like, when you're losing to Chaos, you know something's going wrong.
Sorry, guys. Kind of had to put you out there in the moment, in the heat of the moment. But here it is. Chaos, of course, being eliminated from EU League, being a 10th place in the 2020 season. Gio, Kafe, what's the play here? It's getting rough.
Well, I mean, the thing is with Clubhouse, which was Rogue's map pick, you would think kind of similar in the sense that they're a bit more technical, and they didn't even reach overtime. And what that leads me to believe is that maybe this is going to swing more towards MnM, especially when we talk about what you just said, James, which is the case of stamina throughout a best of 5. Rogue are very good at having a lot of power early on and not necessarily maintaining that. That's my concern at this point.
My final, more open question before we head back into game, to both of you, whoever would like to take the start, is MnM EU League ready?
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like EU League could have 15 teams and you'd still find enough talent in Europe to supply top tier gameplay.
I'm sorry to say this, but it's almost like Europe is the best region of them all, and I take very big pride of actually saying that. Stop waving the UK flag. It's Europe. We don't do that anymore.
I will wave my flag as much as I want.
So
rip it out of my cold hands.
Are they ready, Gio?
Yes, I think they are. One of the big things with Europe is it is probably, of all the major regions, the region that has the smallest difference between the very top and the very bottom. And MnM are showing that at the very least they can cause a big stir and be real competition. I absolutely think they're ready.
So, a map 5 is in the making or not? Yes, no, James?
Looking at the numbers, looking at the form, I think that we're going to see map 5. I think MnM's going to take it. I think they're only going to ramp up from here. Kafe may well be even more convincing in their favor, and then it's all on Rogue at the last post. Can they hold on map 5? We'll see if we even get there.
Gio, yes, no?
We gotta go. Rogue need to maintain their composure, but I don't know if they can do it. I think map 5 is coming.
All right, thank you so much, James. Geo on the desk. It is time to send it back to our casters. We'll go to map 5. We'll have to tell us in chat. We'll have to see how it all happens in game. Flukak, please take us away to Moscow. The snow atop of Kafe Dostoyevsky. Enjoy.
Yo, what's up? Welcome back.
What's
I
up?
like the little throw there where the graphics are all very cool. I feel very cool. You know, it's pretty cool right now. MnM, you got a map. Can you make it 2? Because you kind of need 3. Kafe is where we're going to head next. And Kafe, well, it's not going to be easy.
It is not going to be easy indeed. It is... I don't know how to describe it. There's a little bit of everything. You need the aggression, but you also need the strategy with it, because it is a very difficult map to attack. And I think that is like when it just got announced, when it just got released, it came into pro play. A 5-1 health was not something uncommon. Of course, over time, that started to shift more towards a 4-2, sometimes even a 3-3 split, because people started to figure out the map. But it's still, in nature, a very hard map to attack. There's 2 hatches. Normally, the main point of ingress, you see the piano being taken in control if you want to go for the top floor. For the bottom floor, however, you need to make sure that you have your plan straight. Are you going for a bakery push? Something that we saw a lot during the start of the map, like during the first initial phases. Or are you going for a freezer take? This is something that we have been seeing more and more lately, and it's starting to be more successful as well. So there's plenty of things. It's a hard map to attack, but if you manage to nail that part, if you manage to nail your attacks, you should be good to win it.
Valkyrie, not allowed to play. Fair enough. For Nomad 2, it's a lot of worry and potential of outside information. You look at very big, long journeys you got to take to the top, and you look at, well, a team that likes to play aggressively against windows, against those situations and positions. Jaeger being removed here as well. It's one of those removals where obviously his gadget has been nerfed, but the limitations on structure and the limitations on pulling apart team's defense when they stack themselves up with those shields, with those angles on pixel angle, or obviously against the Skylight 2, it's just going to make things very tough for the team. Now, Rogue obviously took it out, and they are opening on their defense. They're happy to play without it. They've got to try and last the distance, though, to be able to put some damage in against their attackers.
That's it, right? And the Jaeger mainly being played in Pixel, allowing that position to be played more. And I believe it was mentioned before, I think that Geo, that position has changed a lot over the last patch, where the Jaeger got changed. It's no longer being played as it used to be, not with the shield, not with the many discs, magnets, and ADSs to make sure that not a single explosive can come through. It's still being played, just not as hardcore as it would be before. People just play there, they fall back as soon as a bit of pressure comes down. It's just more of a fallback position, right? It's a pressure point, but as soon as you get too much pressure, you fall back because it's just not worth dying there.
Rips sets himself up with a mirror that's been pretty prevalent and present throughout today so far. It's a huge amount of intel and information. They're asking for a little bit of damage done there by Kaid Claw. There it is. Helpful pings to make sure that that wall does get caught. A little bit of a buffer.
A bit of a buffer indeed. See the electric claw being placed from below, which will keep the mirror window closed if I'm correct. Will be under electrification. Now in case of a Kali, which is not the case here, would just not be able to take it out as easily. They would have to go for a bottom floor clear if they want to be able to take that one out. Of course, no Kali on the board, so not really in case here, or in plan. But that's the idea behind it for those that are wondering why it's being placed from below. And Corey receiving a bit of pressure, will be taking out the first drone already, but he's kind of stuck in that position he's in right now.
Yeah, it's such a dangerous place to kind of play against a team that's aware of this, but these are dangerous players. Rogue likes to get aggro on the windows, as I said before, which is why Valkyrie removal, especially on Kafe, because it opts for those kind of teams that like to play that presence. There goes Maestro Cam. There goes a little bit more of an eye on the drop onto the flat level there from the new hatch. But otherwise, they can actually get a little bit of a handle here. They're going for a pretty default take. Top of red, cigar, piano, and then across. Even with the changes and even with the removal of Jaeger, it's still the standard take, and it's still the standard bit of pressure. Aces is playing hyper aggressive underneath, and it comes through. There goes Nafe. There goes the pretty prudent and stoic diffuser planter, and now it's down to MnM to try and pick up the pieces without the IGL.
Yeah, that is going to be quite difficult, and you see the Capitao that has been taken out. And Capitao is not an operator you see every single time, as we see a beautiful C4 snipe coming down. Not quite committing yet, but just spraying through the little bar right there, spraying through the table, hoping to get the kill, because you can do so. It is destructible. It takes a couple of rounds, but eventually you should be able to find ahead. But the Capitao would indicate about this a significant signature push, that would say. Like, this is a special special attack they have been practicing that they're no longer allowed to completely execute, because the Capitao brings those smoke bolts, it brings the incendiary bolts, that is both aerial denial and line of sight covering, which would make it easier to get a plan down. But that means that utility is gone, and that also means that MnM needs to do it without Nafe, without the IGL, and without the utility.
Well, there's the pressure going round against the potential of a drone, but they don't quite catch it. Usus is trying to stack himself up to offer some responding fire towards a big gun behind a very big threat of that mirror window. Fonkers on a sliver of health can't quite catch a break on the top there, and with Rogue still stoically placed inside. Sure, Aces is damaged, but still standing, and standing is dangerous. Word of that. Hey, what also is on the board? 3 C4s still in the pocket, and with only 15 seconds, this is going to be a very dicey, dangerous attempt at trying to get a diffuser down. There's the first, and there they go. Usus with a great swing, almost gets caught by the man covering onside yellow. That's goes deep with the diffuser and tries to stick it in on the close corners, but there's a man rotating by the bar, whether they're aware or not. Leon isn't acting like it, and they're trying to stick it. Now swings round, now pops over, and now Rogue have started this map the same way they did on the 2 that they won.
Very good start right here. They were able to shut down MnM basically from the first entry of the building. There was misinformation or just a lack of information about the position of, I believe it was Aces that got the first kill. Just swung out, managed to pick up the kill onto the Capitao, which is, as I said, a operator you do not see in every single lineup. Like normally you would see Harpreacher, Sophia, Sledge or Buck, like normally Sledge nowadays since that the grenades got removed. And maybe another Harpreacher, right? Capitao is not often being played anymore. It still has a great gun. He still has good utility. It's just not for every take. It's not for every execute. And the fact that they're running it again, shows that this map might rely on their Capitao executes for MnM.
See if they can learn a lesson. Either way, it's going to be something in a book, potentially locked inside the library as they set themselves for the middle floor. Hold the pulse on the board in the hands of Leon. It's going to give him a slightly different beat of information as Karjeka picks up the role and the Alder of the Maestro. Still big angles and still a ferocious and terrifying operator that is often played on the second story, because you've got to keep your value. You've got to keep an eyes, an angle, and an idea on where you need your holes to be played, and it just offers that. The gun can reach from one side to the other, and the cameras will to Capitao back on the board. Capitao back in the hands of Nafe, and the diffuser there too. Let's see if he can last a little bit longer.
That's the question. Aces tries to go for a spawn peek there, but not able to hit anything. It's a blind shot. Often it gets spotted out by a drone all the way on the ground, and that indicates a couple of pre-fires coming through. So they know exactly where those spawn points are. They know exactly when someone would be there in case they would be starting to run straight away. But look at his spells, by the way. Leon Gets just sitting right here in Trade Museum, giving away valuable information to his team about 2 players being repelled up on the side of the building, potentially vulnerable to a jump out if they are not careful enough. Uses in the meantime will be taking control of Cigar Shop and opening up a rotation towards the piano, which means MnM wants to take the control.
C4 shot and taken out of the air there by the presence that is inside the train room. Hey, there's a second. Hey, there's a second catch. Usus. You can't slip that by that man. God. Gets both and puts them in a tricky situation. Pulse is still getting the intel, but that is all C4s ripped and not used properly, unless there's one that's a pre-place that hasn't otherwise gone off. But I haven't seen it either way. They're still getting the beat and the read, and that's going to feed to the guns on the second story, as Aces is able to offer some counter and some pertinent response. But with the angles steadily opening and steadily becoming trickier situations for MnM, they need to start acting, because if things keep slipping into the hands of Rogue, well, Rogue sometimes like to bite back.
Really wonder if they put users on play shooting duty where they just practice for hours with him, just tossing C4s through these holes to try and get him. Grenade coming in right there. Not able to get the kill quite yet. That goes down. Kaseka somehow able to pick up the kill as well, but in the meantime, he's on fire. He cannot move out of that angle. Yunka will be able to almost go down. Nave in the meantime will be able to pick up that kill, and suddenly we find ourselves in a 2-on-3 situation here in favor of MnM, but then that shot misses. Corey should have been dead, but he manages to get the kill instead. And that means 2-on-2. That means 2 people of Rogue still around the site. The diffuser dropped and needs to be recovered with only 50 seconds left for MnM to try and take enough control to get that plan down.
Now what we're looking at here is a pretty dicey situation. Low health across 2 of the 4 remaining players, but with 40 seconds off, the attackers have a lot that they can do with it. Ace is steadily trying to offer some support to Corey as he creeps his way up the stairs to see if they can get anything from the top and the opposite, but the push and prick has otherwise come through from the other side of the arm. Sees ahead, misses the swing. There's a dance, there's a jiggle. There's no results. 20 seconds. All time now that is paying into the favor of the defenders. There is the rotation back to the second story again from Aces. Ready to wait and see if anybody tries to go for the sneaky plant. The cover is there. Gets the man that isn't planting. There is just one more, and it's Corey's to take. Rogue 2-0.
Well played in that defense there. Corey, first of all, with a really important shot on that vertical that might have saved him that round. If Corey got picked up there, it would have been a 1-on-3 situation. The diffuser would still be on a buddy, just allowing to be jumped down within like a second because that's how close he was to that railing. But because of that kill, they had to first recover it, then they both jumped down. You cannot afford to leave someone on the top floor when you're going for a plan. You need the horizontal cover if you want to achieve that. And that allowed Aces to go back up. Make sure he got the vertical that was created by the attackers themselves to make sure it came back to bite them. And that allowed Rogue to be up into 0 right now. We are going to kitchen service, kitchen cooking as the tertiary bomb site. Something we do not often see. Normally the previous one that we've had on the board would be up now. But here we go. Kitchen is next. And we do see the frost coming out with some nice frost vents. This is what I like. These 2 windows. Yeah. If you jump through, you are going to be taking a gunfight. You're not going to be looking down to shoot the frostmats because you're just jumping in the middle of sight. There's no way you're going to be, unless you know it's safe, there's no way you're going to be jumping in and shooting the frostmat.
No, I think that's it. And we've seen it catch a lot of people before. It's one of those kind of placements there, if they are putting pressure on that specific spot, if they are hitting that jump through, usually it's a surprise strike where they've got in early and it will take them by surprise, or it's we got to throw a Hail Mary and try and get this diffuser down. And that's that kind of frostmat situation. It's you hope that they're so pressed or pressured by attention elsewhere or time that things start to fall away from them. But starting to fall a little bit away from MnM. A 4-2 split isn't too out there and isn't too kind of like it's common on Kafe. Probably with lack of better words.
2:40 on that clock. MnM yet again running the Capitão. Yet to see it coming to full effect. We've seen Incinerary going off, but we really haven't seen the execute that could be possible for the Capitão. Heartbreach still being used, however, to open up a long angle towards Prep. All the way up to the window that Rips is playing close to, and he is trying to challenge it every now and then. You gotta be careful as MnM that you don't lose one of your members because of that, because you open up the angle to make sure that people don't try and challenge it. But instead, Rips is like, well, I mean, if you open it up for me, I could just as well try and get a kill through it.
The attention is being paid to the potential of Rogue, putting some pressure outside the building, as we've said and seen throughout this playoffs. They do get aggressive, especially when they have a little bit of confidence and wind beneath their wings. They're more than happy to lean themselves in and apply a presence outside the building if it is so required. Popping some pressure, they're aware of this angle and somebody watching above, but you can see Capitão's in a position to potentially cover the jump out and the swing. Users wants to clear from above and is going to drop a frag grenade deep. Does it catch? Unfortunately, not a person, but there's a second, and no, Leon's still standing and Kaid's still cooking.
Meaning no kills coming in from those 2 frag grenades. That also means there is none left right now as Corey's finding himself in a little bit of a contest right here as Aces comes in to help, just peeks through the window, somehow gets the kill down onto Yunka. That is yet again an opening frag right here for Rogue. They are starting off really well on this Kafe right now as we find ourselves 2-0 up. 8 of the X-Carros being used to open up into the freezer. That is being done just in case, well, someone would like to try and challenge it. Of course, oh, there you have it. The Electroclaw came in, denied all of them, and Corey gets the kill onto Funkers. Aces gets the kill onto Dats. This should be a Rogue round.
Yeah, they set themselves up in a very good position. Users has dug it inside coat check, but it's a very difficult angle when you're structured and stranded away from the rest of the team. Oh, they're there, they're watching, they're aware. You can't even catch the one that swings in. Leon finds and shuts down Users, leaves just the Capitao. He wasn't first off the board in the very beginning. We wanted to see how much presence he could have, but he's going to have all the presence in the world if he can pull this round into some success. Misfires. And takes even more damage from it. And I don't think this is Capitao's round.
I don't think this is Capitao's map so far. They're just waiting for him to just jump in, it looks like. They're waiting on the cam, hoping that he pushes, but he's not doing anything so far. Both Corey and Rips push through the fire, and that means they are going to be going for that kill. But this is a round long done already, and this is a round for Rogue, as they are able to push themselves up to 3-0.
The perfect site rotation is the perfect start for any Rogue fans out there. We saw a little bit of a shake in the wheels that were otherwise back on the tracks. I think it's fair to say from the first 2 maps from Rogue in the previous map, but here, well, they found their groove again. That's a bit of the worry for MnM, who have otherwise found themselves unable to really get a hold on the map itself. It's always a structured fight, and always that last step of getting into the site that seemed to evade them on the first 2 rounds. They were able to get that initial presence that they wanted. They had themselves outside the door reading. They had themselves in Cigar, across, and putting pressure onto White. But that final step, that very important last piece of the puzzle has so far eluded them, which, when you look at previous maps with MnM, their ability to just get an ace in and stick that diffuser down has been one of the round turns for them.
The current track record of Rogue on Kafe Dostoyevsky over this year has been 2 wins and 7 losses. It's not good. It is actually pretty bad. But so far, they are doing really well. It seems that they have indeed been practicing a lot on this map over the off time they had. It's almost like that's a thing, you know, like when you're having a bigger match coming up, you're going to be practicing a lot, making sure that you have new tricks to bring. On the other hand, MnM right now 2-2-1 in win, draw, loss. So it should be looking like a good map for them. But so far, yet to find an attacking round. But luckily for them, as I said before, you know, before we even went into round number 1, a 5-1 for the defense is not too uncommon. Even though it's starting to shift more to a 4-2 nowadays. So all hope is not lost yet. They just need 1 round, and there is an opportunity that they can come all the way back.
I like Corey there deciding which window to try and throw a C4 out of. They were like eeny, meeny, miny, mo between them, and then went, oh, actually, I'm just going to set my gun out and be ready for this. Here's the rappel again, waiting for attention. Corey dancing dangerously around the piano, but not the piano man this time. Heads back towards the old school pixel angle. See, without the shield this time, and you just got to kind of have a look. It's been 4 C4s almost consistently for Rogue.
Yes, they like to bring a lot of C4s right here. A lot of explosives is something they would like to go with. And of course, Yizis shoots out a couple of them every round, but if you manage to find 1 kill, it is already worth it. And if you as Rogue are not in need of any barbed wire or any shields to back that up, I mean, you do have the Banshees that are allowing you to slow down your enemies if they are moving in. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them bringing this many C4s, because if you get the C4 kill or even a double kill, we've seen Aces do it before, it is so impactful.
The long angle is held there by the mirror, making sure no one gets close, but Aces is dancing in the middle of it anyway. They're kind of wanting and waiting for a firefight across Freezer. There's a bit of a holy heck, let's run out and see what we can catch, but unfortunately for them, nobody as of yet. Look at all the blue guns. They're stacked up and waiting. This is this top floor. It's a gutted no man's land in the middle of 2 very aggressive teams that desperately want to catch the first body of their opponents, to find something to swing their way in. Corey underneath, creeping his way around, potentially trying to catch them with a C4 underneath through the floor. Can hit Cigar, can hit some presence, and can hit some danger so far, but no one has pushed that far as of yet. There is no opening inside the train to do a C4 that way round, but 3 bodies, it's a dangerously tight pack.
He's just waiting for the plan to go down. There's only 30 seconds left, Fluke. You see you hear the incendiary bolts coming out. Junker gets yet another kill onto ACs. But if this C4 of Corey will hit, it's actually going to be the Elder first that will be able to get one kill and the down onto Dats. That's going to be costing them even more time. And Corey is ready. He's waiting below with the gun to potentially take them out as they move in with that diffuser. Another man will actually fall. The C4 will come in, but not rain in, not deal any damage. Kurzeka gets another kill. The time is slowly starting to run out. They need to go for the plant right here. Dats picks up one kill, gets swung on by Kurzeka, but he's not able to pick up the kill yet. C4 run out. He will be able to clutch it. Rogue are going up 4-0 right now. The one kill with the C4. The instant swap with the AUG, able to pick up that final kill. And Rogue are staying strong.
Wow, Rogue or Karjeka is staying strong. I mean, you gotta give credit. The man pulls off, I believe, a 3 or a 4K there to be able to keep themselves locked in. Leon did big work as soon as the push came through. That Alder went burr and was able to get 1.5 people down. The half, the diffuser carrier, which bought them even more time to get them picked up, to get themselves back in a situation they couldn't just push on. They had to get back up and try and hold on. It scattered and scarpered what would have been an otherwise perfect time to push, and severely limited how they could get anywhere deeper and anywhere further into the site. 4-0. Rogue keep a perfect run on this map so far. Only just MnM knocking on the door of potential rounds, knocking on the door of greatness. Fortunately, watching that door of Pro League get further and further away.
That round, good example of how valuable that C4 can be. Kurzeka saved it into the last very moment, knew the plant was going down, exactly where it was going down, tossed it in, managed to get that kill, and, well, by some miracle, get the second one with the AUG as well. That was a kill he shouldn't have been allowed to get. If he would have dug himself in, he would have won the round on base in time, but he was going to be going aggressive. He didn't know if the peak was going to be in time. Nonetheless, round number 5, MnM still hunting for just a single round so far, as that could be enough for a potential comeback, for a potential reverse sweep. You don't want to be going out 6-0. That would be the worst thing that you could be going up against in the second half on the 4th map.
Yeah, I mean 6-0 when you're one round away, on one map away, and well, Funkers isn't even a few windows away from actually getting inside the building. Dropped from a swing, and the beat and feed is there. They're feeding all of that intel to Aces above. He wants to head down. He wants to hit this. Gonna knock the window and cause some fear, but too little, too late. Funkers back up and standing and back on his feet now as they set themselves up for, let's say, take 2. There it is. There's the jump out. There's the catch. Junker gets one more body for his tally.
Somehow Ace is missing the shots right there onto Junker. And you will maybe be wondering, why did they go for the Funkers pickup when the windows are getting opened up? But it was actually a rappel actually on the side, upside down, waiting for that jump out to happen just to make sure the cover was going to be there. So good teamwork there from MnM trying to recover Funkers right there. So good stuff coming through. They do have the entry frag right now, and as I said, only one round theoretically is what they need to make a reverse sweep happen. And this one might be it. This one might be the round that they could be picking up. They took out Aces early on. There's no C4 on him. No gun that just jumps out of the windows. They just need to make sure they don't lose more. And they just did that.
Blown out of the way from hell and taken to heaven. There's a misthrown frag grenade. Uses. Oh, we're seeing a couple of blows of utility here from MnM. They can't quite catch it, but Leon catches Junker. There's a grenade over the top caught by Wamai. And Karjeka, well, he's ready to catch some more prey. Dug in with the Alder on the backside of this floor is such a big force to try and reckon with and get out. Rips is there to offer some support. We see Leon takes a scratch, but that pulse is still bleeding information. Users caught close and caught swung by Karjeka. 4-2 left. Bonkers hops down to Pillars to see if he can get some revenge on the pulse that's been causing so many problems, but he's back in sight, and he's still giving the game away on where everybody is. 2 stories separate the pair of them. Funkers realizes he needs to do something onto the site here, but his attention is going to be drawn very quickly by those guns still standing. Close angles, close fight, close health bars. Karjeka and Dats scratch each other. Dats is the one that stays standing by the end of it, and now pushes aggressively for one more. There goes Leon too. Funkers has some revenge finally against the man that has consistently been the pulse and the prick in the leg. 2 versus 1. Corey gets revenge, and there it is. 1 versus 1. Stats gets Corey, and now it's just Rips left. Stuck in the laundry room, he sends him to the cleaners.
Standing on top of the laundry machine there, Fluke. Just waiting. Having the elevated angle is not something you would expect when you swing that angle, when you cut that pie. And as you are being taken down right now, it was a good start as you take down aces quite early on from an aggressive jump out. But somehow, Rogue managed to come back. Kill after kill. First the C4. Okay, there's nothing you can do about that except for not being in that position. But you don't know that's going to be happening from the start. Then just an FOV, kind of different. You didn't see the Alda peeking around the corner that took you out eventually. And then, oh, it's a 4-on-3. And it all snowballs from there. And that leaves us at a 5-0 mark. This is the round where MnM needs to be able to pick up one attack. Because if they do not, this might be the toughest map for them this year. They need to make sure that this map goes to them if they want to be making it to EUL. Because if they don't, I'm going to state it again, they are staying in Challenger League for yet another year. This is a make or break for some of these players, their careers. This is a dream that could be coming through. Many already have come close. The crazy roster back then held a couple of these MnM players. Funkus, of course, played on Secret. He knows what it's like to be on the top tiers of Siege. And he just wants to come back. But for now, he seems to be denied by one of his old teammates that found a space in Rogue.
5 seconds to go.
5-5. That's all standing, and if I'm honest, I have a feeling it's not going to last longer because the bravery of Rogue in these everyone's standing situations is growing when they have 5 versus 0 rounds at the top center of the screen. You are waiting to count down players as they approach a little bit too carelessly, but it seems like they have some focus and some attention. Corey isn't able to catch anyone just yet as the MnM players find their way to the top floor, but it's not the end of him trying.
Definitely not be the end of him trying as Usus opens up the hatches. Opens up the entry points for the members of MnM to take that top floor. Of course, you do not really want to repel in. It's a dangerous maneuver to do. You only go for it if you really have no other option, and thus the hatches are the main point of ingress. Users already using that, opening up into the piano as well, spotting out a player that quickly went for a shoulder peek for Pixel. This is the name is. He managed to rotate out. He managed to get into the freezer safely. And Users on that hunt is going to get blown out from the wall. He just stood next to Aces. Picks up that kill and you instantly see the double rotate coming down. But that's going to be the down coming down onto Aces. The refrag will be there. Unfortunately, as Corey picks him up, just managed to dodge those shots in time. And as Dats now goes aggressive on that hunt, he wants to get those kills. It's going to be another one that drops. The diffuser now goes down as well in this 2v4 situation.
There's one picked up on the bottom of the floor. There is now pressure from the stairs. Instantly responded. They have angles, they have idea, but they still only have 2 players left against the 3 that have dug themselves into sight. Separated with a couple of bodies inside. I talked about Kochek being a tough position to be in when you're the only attacker. As the defender, it can become just as isolating if it gets a little bit further away from you. They need to stack themselves up against that push on one side before they can go against the other. And, well, it looks like they're going to do this with the combination of Sophia. Pops the charges through, tries to stun them in the swing. Perfect is how that's played, and tries to lead in with perfect, with just, well, I guess more perfect, but doesn't catch the second player that's dug in on the opposite side. Still raw, still uncooked, and still ready to be sent out for service.
MnM. This is a very important round. I've highlighted it before. This needs to be the one that they pick up on this half if they want to be going for that reverse sweep without reaching the overtime. A flawless half is not something you want to be going up against, especially not when it is going to be the final potential map for your opponent. This could be 6 match points in a row right here if MnM doesn't strike back now. C4 being popped in, not doing any damage so far. 20 seconds left on that clock as that is now trying to move in. There's a rotation made from before. He misses a shot on the first player, but it's only up to him right now. It is going to be the trade, however, that stands. Junker able to pick up that double kill in the end. And MnM are able to win at least 1 round on their attack. Are they going to be able to go for the reverse sweep?
They have no choice, is all we can really say at this point. MnM have a lot to do, and they have 1 buffer round to do it on Kafe. But before, they only had 1 quick advert. Fireplace mining. It's where we head next.
Fireplace mining.
It's where we go for final dance. And as I was saying before the advert, I completely forgot about. Because I'm quite excited. Chat.
It is a really exciting
Production, I hope you forgive me. It's quite an exciting game.
I was going to say, it was a really subtle trial. Like,
Attackers need
said
to
this
locate
effort.
and defuse the bomb.
But, you forgot a question, Flo.
What?
I'm going to ask it to you. What did you do during the effort?
What do I do?
Yeah, what did you do?
Oh, I went down shops. Bought some,
Oh, did you?
Yeah, bought some sweets.
Oh, okay. Good. What kind of sweets did you get? Anything
Unbranded
special?
ones that
Of course,
You know,
of course.
nothing with a brand.
No unbranded
That's what
sweets.
I'm
I'm just saying, like, was it anything special? Like, special occasion?
this. Getting to watch two teams, 10 fantastic players fight for the chance at getting into that tier 1, or as you've said a couple of times, it's otherwise a year of sitting on the outskirts, watching from range, because either of these teams has put in the distance and the difference here, and I guess it's one of those situations of so far MnM haven't quite had Kafe, but you know, it's such a big situation there.
It is a big situation. We had Rogue going from number 1 in EU to number 9 overall after a devastating phase 2. They find themselves in this current matchup that they had to play. But their future's on the line. MnM, of course, coming through UK, winning the tournament, just falling short against Kavana, who are their UK counterparts who already qualified. And right now, finding themselves for the second season in a row in Challenge League, and well, MnM now in a, again, well, career-defining match coming up right here as Leon gets the first one. Also pops out that Goyo shield that was deployed on Pixel, so no more pressure coming from that side.
Wow, yeah, there's the drop, there's the Pixel, there's the Goyo, and there's them gone. They're aware of the mirror that's playing below, but what a blow. You lose not only the opening trade, you lose Funkers, who's been such a big force. At least you get Corey back, Nafe says, as the castle does work with the UMP on the top floor. Able to take care of one more above the hatch and keep themselves locked, but there is a body on the skylight waiting for a mistake to happen. Kajeka watching, ever devastating and destructive as the pressure starts to come flat against the site. Aces just creeps his way in. He's inside, he's found some ground, and if they're not quite aware, well, they are now as he swings himself at a bulletproof. Leon's just going to stick the diffuser behind the machine. They don't seem to have the full idea. Yonka is going to try and rotate, has C4, and he's it at the last second, but doesn't quite get there in time and misses out on the firefight, but Nafe doesn't care. Hits a triple inside the rotation and catches them as they try and flee out of the site.
Rip's not really in a good position right now for this after plant that's currently going on. We'll be getting his Twitch drone into position to try and deny the Banshee, but in the meantime, the defuse is already happening. There's nothing Kajeka will be able to do right here. This is going to be a quick defuse from MnM. Not quite sure what the plan was right there. Planted in a position, it was unable to be kept safe by Rogue. You see a couple of shots actually landing on the diffuser, but just missing out on the head. Rips was not ready for that. He was far too far out. And MnM basically getting a free one because of that. A sneaky plant turning into a quick defuse.
5-2. They've done a little bit to pull the difference back, and it was a bold play by Rogue. They read that they could get in the room and read that they could put something down with the castle and the location it was. It made things a bit of a you gotta swing around to get it. Credit to Nafe, who dropped down on pillars on the word of the plant going down, was able to catch the two players rotating and scarpering out of there. Probably won the first fight against Aces, I'm assuming, was covering flank, and then was able to pick Leon too. It was a bold play, a bold attempt. MnM, well, they did just enough to stop it spiraling out of control almost instantly. Just enough, probably won't do in the long run. Let's see if they can set themselves up for a storm inside kitchen.
Let's take a breath right now. Rogue needs to slow down compared to what they just brought, while still keeping the aggression that basically landed them the 5 rounds they got on their defense. A little bit of a different approach as you're now on the attack, the harder side of the two. There's the castle being brought by MnM. Really gotta appreciate that. Of course, there is the sledge available on Rogue, so that means that they will be, well, quite easy work to be dealt with. However, if you manage to take down Korzyka, as he needs to go out of his way to open up those barricades, they will stay close for a little bit longer, and they need to use their impacts and their also valuable ash charges for it.
They have done some work here, but they've still got a lot left to do, and they bought themselves, again, a fair handful of C4s to try and do it. There is a lot of verticality. Hey, and there's a C4. As I talk of it, it is used. Users is able to get the opener there. Was that a hatch kill? Oh, yes, it was. Blown to the place where they're hanging in perpetual horror. Much for all of us to see. Thank you, users, for bringing that nightmare into our world.
Aces, knowing someone is at the bottom of these stairs, wants to go for a fight right here, but decides to fall off instead. Doesn't want to risk his life into a 50-50. He wants better odds than that. And as he will be rotating around, he will be droned in by Corey. They seem to be aware of the fact that there is a pest on that door. There's nothing they can do about it, waiting for some help. That would be coming in Aces, but decided to not take down that pest instead. Instead, clear the room himself and pick up a freebie onto users. He just had no clue that Aces was about to come, and the hatch is actually open up as well. That means he's going to be able to get rid of the new Gemmers and of the Banshees, and that means that the wall can be breached any second.
Very easy take there, as he was able to just swing by, and a lapse in concentration has suffered users' fate there. But a minute 20, and as the destruction starts to rain from above, they still have 2 C4s in pocket and 2 bits of potential destruction to drop down. There's a hatch with a lot of attention paid for it as the drones start to filter and flicker their way down. We talked about that jump over towards Coffee and towards the sink being a very big break in the plant, but there it is. Aces from above gets the double and avoids the dance of a C4. He was the tip of the spear in the previous round to get the diffuser in, and now, well, he's doing all the stabbing from above.
Castle barricade that was placed in freezer to try and deny anybody rotating through right there when it would eventually drop down has broken down as well. In the meantime, the smokes are being dropped in. Leon Giz is in the side. The shotguns are finally coming in right here to down onto Leon Giz, but in the meantime, Aces able to pick up 1 kill as well as we find ourselves in a 3-on-2 situation. 2-on-2 situation, make that as is only up to Funkers, but he goes down. It's Corey to pick up that kill. Quickly fire up a headshot into Leon Giz and go for a quick teabag as he got downed. The poor sod. As the Brits would say, I think. Is that? I don't know. I'm just trying my best cosplay right here. Like Medic's a bottle of water, you know? Like, is that not British? British? No?
If there was a list of words I expected you to say,
not poor sod.
That's down.
It would probably be a swear word.
I mean, it's like one of those isn't it? Words. I would still stop saying it before you get an angry production in your ear, being like, "Hap, again."
I didn't swear. Was it a swear? Is that swearing?
No, it's not really a swear.
Okay. I was going to say. I have a history, I know, but...
Hey, there's more important things to talk about right now anyway.
Yes.
We need to talk about the fact, Rogue, you are 1 round away from another year inside the top tier. 1 round away to, as I said at the very beginning of the day, start refilling that patented dangerous barrel that was otherwise empty, that you hit the bottom of Rogue in Tier 1 Siege being that force that terrifies and antagonizes any opponents they are up against. And, well, MnM, you're unfortunately 1 round away from that fairy tale ending. Country folk of Kavana are able to take the other day. You are 1 round away, yet again, from the potential greatness of Tier 1. And you've still got a lot left to do.
It's not just 1 round. It is 4 times 1 round. They cannot afford to lose. They need to make sure to get the next 4 in a row. On their defense, it is doable. It has been done before. Rogue managed to do it right before this one. And that does mean there is an opportunity. There is hope right there in the MnM camp that they, as well, are going to be able to make this come back to a 6-6 situation. They could be going for OT. The OT is what they're aiming for, whilst Rogue has 4 opportunities to get themselves into EUL 2021. To confirm themselves, to show the world that Stage 2, well, it was just a series of unfortunate events, and they managed to get the better of it in this relegation match.
Starts steadily, as it always has, getting the intel on the bodies of MnM that are inside and, well, suffering the fate of trying to match them. Yonka Takes care of Corey with a big angle against a big window. Working out where that happened. Well, it could have been a whole myriad of different places. Either way, Leon's wasting no time. Pops an angle through Cigar to see if he can catch anybody as the top of Red steadily opens. Rips has the potential to drop down. They've still got the body that was before watching Skylight and is gone. There's Leon though, picks one and avoids a C4. As Nath goes off, the IGL is now watching from the grandstands.
4 and 4. 98 seconds left on the clock between safety of the Rogue players, their careers, of another year in Tier 1 play, of being able to go to the majors again, of being able to qualify for the 6th Invitational next year. That is what they're playing for the opportunities of reaching those great tournaments and for the safety for yet another year in their careers. 1 minute. The clock keeps ticking down. The the Argus chems are being deployed. They're taking out the default chems with those lasers. Was given information themselves. Focus is expecting someone to enter from that window as a C4 is being prepped, and Users is also pointing his gun towards it, but it's instead going out from the eastern side. You see a member repelled up there. You see a member at the bottom of the white stairs as, well, magnets are being used to catch projectiles that are flying in. And 35 seconds are left on the clock. Are Rogue ending it here? Or is it MnM that managed to live for one more round?
Focus is holding the angle, but suffers at the top of the white stairs as Dats tries to rotate to fill in and gets revenge and does. Swings his way back round. They're going for the eastern take, and Kajak is the first person to get some feet right inside the boards. Concerned of pillars and rips, is concerned of the white corridor around the back side of the site. There is one more for Yonka. There is one more for Leon, and there is one more for MnM. One more chance at keeping themselves in this.
They will be fighting back. They are not giving up yet. They want to go to OT, and only 3 rounds remain between them and that goal of going to overtime. Between them and having the opportunity of going to a map number 5 to fight for their chance at EUL. Because right now it's still all Rogues to win and MnM's to lose, as there's still 3 rounds that Rogue have between them and a potential overtime situation. There's 3 rounds that they have the opportunity to close this off. For security, safety, and Tier 1.
It was a 6-3 when it was almost pulled back by MnM before. A couple of maps ago, they were able to get themselves to OT, but unfortunately fell at that final round and final hurdle. It's not over for MnM. It's down to Rogue to, yet again, put a full stop on this game, on this series, and on this map lead that they have cultivated from their defenses. See if they can sing that into a story of their attacks. Reading is where we find ourselves stacking up with another MnM hold. They know the danger and they know what's at play. And they know how badly that they need this.
This could be the last preparation phase that MnM find themselves in. Must they be shaken right now? Is it good enough? Is our setup properly enough? Are we going to be able to outplay Rogue like this? As they bring yet another explosive one. We see 2 frag grenades in Rogue. We see 2 impacts, 3 ash charges. Everything they bring on the side of MnM can be dealt with explosives. Maybe not the mirror window. That will have to be shot from the back, or maybe an ace charge in front. Multiple ways to deal with the pieces of utility that MnM brings. And their gunplay needs to be on point right now. These are the most important 3 rounds for MnM that are about to come up. They need to make sure everything is on point. They cannot make a single mistake, or Rogue will be capitalizing on that, or Rogue will be able to walk away with the win, walk away with the Tier 1 spot. As Aces right now, up above, will be hoping to challenge Nave, who's not giving away anything. He's playing passive, and that's exactly what they need to do. They cannot afford to give away picks to Rogue. They cannot afford to give anything away for free.
Yonka's keeping a keen eye on any approach that might happen here, and there's plenty of time for Rogue to set themselves up in that situation. Nave, hyper-aggressive, and gonna respond by being droned out and get out of there. He doesn't want to get caught early, because you give them an inch and they will take a mile. Pulls himself all the way back into the site itself and making sure that he's a gun that can be relied upon. Now, Train is steadily hot droned out as they make their way through. They have a big hold inside white stairs. That is their lockdown across this site, and that is how they're going to try and keep themselves gripped into holding against that without holding inside the train itself. It was sometimes a little bit of a touch and go subject here when they were trying to hold it in this area before with the train set up. But look at this Asus heading straight up and peppering bullets through the door.
The pressure is mounting, more Argus chems being deployed, trying to get some information, trying to find out where these players are. The yellow pings are coming through, Aces playing below on the actual site they need to be at, shooting through, just aiming through a little charge, hoping to take down the Mew Gemmer. Will be missing that mark, and that means the opening will not be coming in yet. They need to try another time, but right now users won't have the time to go for the trick because it's already opening, and that means the B-bomb site will be open up ever so slightly, and users under pressure on him will be increasing ever so more. 55 seconds on the clock. Rogue have found themselves an opening into a site. A physical opening as well as a kill. As a double kill that comes through. 50 seconds between Rogue and a potentially UL 2021 spot.
Dats is going for the big rotation now up the bar stairs, trying to find the backside, and does. Asus was caught slacking and sleeping, and now Leon is the one that needs to put someone to bed, but it's Yonka that gets Kazeka next. They still have vertical control. They cannot enter that doorway without suffering, and, well, they can't even do that as Nafe cuts down Leon on the rotation and makes sure he doesn't leave pillars. Suddenly, from getting the body opener, things have started to slip through the fingers of Rogue as they drop down Rips and Corey. The Dream Team is trying to double down and see if they can put something back onto the map here as Corey sneaks through Zulu in the core of the site, swings onto one, doesn't quite catch them, but dances close to the second, doesn't see the man down the stairs, picks the fight with the man up as Rips tries to stick the diffuser in with the time left, is gonna hold the push, hold the angle. Yonka can rotate through, but doesn't, takes a different fight. It's Dats that swings down, and Rips gets 1-on-1 versus 1, and Rogue
does it!
Here they are! I will not say Rogue is back. I will say Rogue is still here.
Somehow Rips able to get the 1v2 going, gets the diffuser down, picks up one, picks up two, and puts Rogue up into EUL 2021. They maintain their spots, but it was a hard-fought one. It almost seemed like that round was slipping away as well. But MnM just not able to make it happen. The cover was there. Rips was back just in time as well. And Rogue have made it. They stay in EUL. They stay in Tier 1. And they're here to, hopefully for them, try and contest those top 4 positions again. They have been able to do in the past.
MnM, knock on the door of greatness. Fortunately, still unanswered. We'll leave the questions posed by our desk after a very short break.